Ooh. Whoa. You're not gonna come on? There we go. All right, that's that taken care of. Bow. There was something else. But I can't remember it because I'm upset. Something else. Water. Who? 12, 15, maybe. Let's go with that. That's not right. 25.
You're late, nigga. Oh no.
Hold up. Let me put my headphones in.
Yo. Listen, you know that jackass is still running the post office because of some loophole. Biden can't get him out now.
Yeah. There was a conversation about that down there.
Woo-hoo-hoo.
Listen, we be resourceful when we need to be resourceful, and we know shit when we need to know shit.
Yeah,
and ain't nothing worse than making us upset in a nonviolent way,
right?
Because we be it's the whole thing. It's the whole thing.
Nigga, like I said, I don't want no smoke with them.
I already had rants set up
before on deck.
I left the house today. Now I got another one. God.
All right, so
we live already.
We live good. All right. Let me just go into the intro for the sake of the audio podcast. and then we can dive all the way in. Now, for the record, do you want to dive with that? Lead with that?
I don't listen.
Or do you want me to bring then and then we? Because I kind of want the frustrated energy that you have about this situation now, rather than let a little bit of time go by.
All right, fuck it. We'll do it live.
We'll do it live. All right, fine. Welcome, everyone, to the Black Culture Geeks podcast. This is my man, SPJ.
I'm upset with all of you.
And I am Tombstone the Dead Man. And we are just a couple of geeks talking about pop culture from a black perspective.
We're going to get to the bottom of this.
Indeed. Now, I have not looked at a single story. I don't even think I got the document. But whatever the case is, SPJ he already had a bunch of stuff that he was going to fuss about. A bunch of stuff he was going to fuss about. And then some shit happened this morning. That
Slash this afternoon.
Yeah. Facts. So that's why we're late. But we also have a guest that's coming on today to discuss reparations. We're supposed to have him on a little while ago, but no shit happens. And our show is not really all that formatted for the whole guest thing usually in the first place. So it took us a while to try to do this and let things align. We got a segment coming with my man Joe. But before we do any of that, because I want to get this frustrated energy that SPJ has right now, I want him to at least talk about what happened this morning and why we are late.
You know,
the floor is yours, sir.
Here's the thing. When I had realized that I had to go to the post office today, this was either early yesterday or late the day before. Realized I had to go to the post office today. I was going to speak about it. It wasn't going to be a rant. I was going to speak about it in conjunction with some of the other things I had to talk about.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I had this nice little setup with a transition, and you know how things go. But now, I can't do that. I can't do it that way because it's made me late for the show.
Right.
So it gets priority because people like, where the fuck y'all at?
Right.
I gotta explain it. Right?
You gotta explain it. Listen, it's a thing. It's a little thing we do on this show called transparency. Now, none of you get full transparency about everything. Come on, that's not. But as transparent, you don't even want it. You don't even want it. You really don't want it, right? But we do try to be transparent when we can, and so we're gonna talk about this now. And if that means
this particular situation is something that plagues a lot of people. It's not just
facts.
It wasn't just something that happened to me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I have spoiler alert, I didn't get my mail. I have something relatively important. When I say relatively important, it's not a life or death thing. It's not a I'll get kicked out of my place. It's not. It's not none of that. It's not none of that. So, I feel like slightly assholic.
Assholic. I think I like that pronunciation a lot better.
Slightly assholic. I felt slightly assholic when I first decided this morning that I was going to rant about this shit. Right. And so I realized, like I just said, it's not a me thing. It's not a me thing. I just have
it's not you thing. Right. A lot of people going through it.
So if you guys haven't heard, a while ago, back when Tangerine Timmy was still in office, there were talks about the post office and how inefficient it is and how this and how that. And when the pandemic started, it made all of that worse because obvious reasons. I don't have to explain.
And then when the election took place, there was some that was saying it was being purposely fucked with because a certain individuals all of a sudden had a distaste for mail-in ballots. Every other election they was cool with it, but all of a sudden this election they wasn't cool with it. All right.
So everybody knows that there's been issues with the post office.
Yes.
Well, everybody isn't feeling those issues equally.
No.
For a while, my mail delivery had slowed to once a week.
Right.
Now, for me, being not a senior, being technologically savvy, not having a weird, irrational, but understandable fear of technology advancements and systems and all other stuff. 99.9% of the shit that I do has no involvement with the post office
or paper
at all. So when it first started being a once a week thing, it didn't bother me.
Right.
I still had empathy, like that's bullshit.
Yeah.
But it didn't actually bother me. Well, we've talked about recently how April was so what's the word I want to use? So
trash.
Prosperous.
Well, sorry. I was talking about my April.
Prosperous, You saw you got to see another millennium. Never mind.
Shush.
How prosperous financially April was for me, specifically in the credit realm.
Indeed. Oh, indeed.
So because of that, I had been dealing with mail more often because I had this card coming, this card coming, this thing coming, this right.
Tracks.
But even still, none of this was life and death. I had never been in a situation like realistically outside of when. No, it's suppressed that now. That's another topic that I had to talk about. But we're gonna get to that later. I've never been in the situation that I'm in right now as far as my credit is concerned.
Right.
So it wasn't something that like I need to happen immediately. No, I'm good. I got time. I can wait as long as my shit's still coming.
Yeah.
But then,
hey sis,
what up, sis?
Your boy is pissed.
Listen, hey. Then sometime like 2 weeks ago, I noticed because I had signed up for the UPS informed delivery thing. It's where they take pictures of your mail that's coming, and they send you a email like, "Hey, this should be arriving this day." Right. So I started doing that, and then, like I said, like 2 weeks ago, I had already resigned to the fact that it was not going to be more than once a week.
Right.
But then I get a message, and then the next day I get another message about another piece of mail. Then the next day I get another message about another piece of mail. And I'm like, hold on, it's been a week. And this first piece of mail hadn't come yet.
Right.
But again, none of that stuff was like super important in my relatively.
It wasn't no immediate crisis that needed to be addressed.
Bill. But I pay these bills online. So I don't need the paper. And I have a budget, and so I don't need the paper to remind me. I honestly don't remember why the fuck I still get paper bills for this couple of days.
Why
I don't fucking know. I know I don't. It's fucking one of them is Comcast. You know how that goes.
Yeah.
So, but then something happened that I'm gonna talk about later, and it made one of my pieces of mail that's supposed to be coming relatively important. So I'm looking in the informed delivery, and it's telling me that I have mail from the people that are supposed to be sending me this thing.
Right.
Okay. So I go in there yesterday, go to the post office, because it has now been 2 weeks since any mail has been delivered.
Oh, damn.
To me. So I go in the post office yesterday. I'm in there for not super long, maybe about half hour, which is longer than I should have been in there, but I understand they understaffed. I get that. I understand how that works.
Understaffed and piss poor management.
Oh yeah. We gonna get to that part. So I was in there about half hour. They came back with my mail, came out, got in the car, went through my mail because I'm looking for a specific thing. The mail from the people that are sending me that thing wasn't the thing that I was looking for.
Right.
But I had spent too much time in there, so I left. Like, I just come back tomorrow and see if they got that piece.
Right.
Then I looked on my informed delivery. What up, Paul? Then I looked on my
hey, what's up, Paul? My fault.
Then I looked on my informed delivery and realized, oh, there was another piece of mail from them that had come on my informed delivery before the mail that I just got.
Right.
So I absolutely should have gotten that other piece of mail. Again, there's no guarantee that that's what's inside of that envelope.
No,
but it's from those people.
Right.
So I'm like, all right, cool. I'll go there tomorrow and ask about that and get my mail. So I get in.
Hey, sis.
What's going on, Erica? I get in there today. They open at 10. I get there like 9:50. Because I know what's going on. Right. On top of that, I be early for shit because I don't like being late.
Right.
So I get there in like 9:50. We get in there. I give them. I'm just talking about the me stuff first.
Right.
I give them my thing. My license doesn't have my current address on it, so I already know what the deal is. I give them my license and I give them a piece of mail that's a utility that has my name and the address on it.
That's how it works.
In this instance, it's my Comcast bill. give them my ID, so they verify it's me. Then I give them the piece of mail, so they verify the address. They take the piece of mail and they go in the back and go look for my shit.
Yeah.
That happened at about 10:05.
That's not good.
Come 12 o'clock, they still hadn't come back out to address me. Now, the reason I ended up, I was in this state of limbo on whether I should stay and wait or leave, because, like I said, it's relatively important. Number one, and number two, I had already given them my mail, which was my piece of identifying information. I wouldn't have been like on some bullshit if they was like, "Oh no, we don't got nothing else for you." I'd be like, "All right, cool. Let me get that piece of mail back," because I used that to identify myself.
Right.
But because of you guys, I left because it was just getting entirely too ridiculous. Now, again, that's just me. This is the type of stuff that I've experienced over these past few days at that location.
Yeah, yeah.
So yes, yes, they are under what's the best? I get that, but I was going to use it. Yeah, I'll just go staff. They're understaffed. Okay. They're understaffed, and they got a lot of shit going on. And at the end of the day, they're human beings. They don't control any of this shit.
They're just workers.
They have lives. They're just workers, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But fuck all that for a couple of reasons. Just a couple of reasons. Just a couple of reasons.
Okay.
There are still things that happened that I witnessed that were unacceptable.
Right, right.
Even though you're not in charge of what's going on, and you may not be the root of the problem.
Right.
You're not helping in certain instances.
Right. No. The post office.
No, post office.
Post office.
So my particular post office has people that are saying, this was from yesterday. I had people that were saying they haven't gotten mail in 3 weeks.
Damn it.
Oh, no, that's nothing. Today, I heard people say they haven't gotten mail in a year.
The fuck?
Right. Now, here's what anybody in my generation that might be on the more ignorant side of things as far as the mail is concerned, and if you're listening to me and you understand what I'm saying, I don't got to go into deep explaining. I'm not insulting you, but if you're on the ignorant side of how mail works, this is people's checks. This is people's medicine. So this is a situation that is potentially killing people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So again, to the things that are unacceptable.
You mean other than the killing people?
No, I mean I'm talking about from the employees, not the system, from the employees. By the way, this is infrastructure, people.
Oh, please repeat that.
This is infrastructure. That $141 billion plan that they talking about debating and shit right now in Congress. Yeah, this is infrastructure.
Not just bridges, just roads.
Not just roads. No, it's not. That's not how that works. This is a part of the infrastructure.
Facts.
So the first thing I noticed from the employees that is completely unacceptable. I don't give a fuck how bad your day is going. I don't give a fuck how swamped you are. This is your job. You chose to work here.
Right.
Arguing with the people about the facts. Now, if I come to you and say, hey, I haven't gotten mail in such and such and such amount of time.
Right.
And your response should never be, yes, you did. Mail went out yesterday. Lady, I'm telling you that I didn't get my mail. Your argument is assuming that the carrier went out and did their entire route.
Right.
And B, that they didn't make a mistake.
Right.
This is not the time for you to assume either of those things. Now, I'm not saying throw your people under the bus. I get that.
But also
there's a better way you could respond to
that. Don't tell somebody who hasn't gotten what they should have gotten for a long ass time that you did get it. No, the most you can say is it left here.
Right.
That's the most you can say. But stop the corny. That's corny as fuck.
That's on some bullshit. Corny. The other thing, and this might be a personal thing. This might be like a part of this person's personality, which I understand because I'm me. Right. But it's a bunch of people in here that
ain't trying to hear that.
Ain't trying to hear none of this. I can get why this would fuck with people, and it almost made it. Some shit almost happened. If it wasn't for me and another brother in there, then it probably would have went.
It would have got stupid. It would have got stupid. So, in other words, you mean to tell me that there were people in the post office other than postal workers that were about to go postal?
Absolutely.
Damn.
So the one lady, she's usually the one that's been there throughout all this. She's like the one at the clerk's desk.
Yeah.
Because again, they're understaffed.
Yeah.
But she has this habit of laughing. And I think it's a nervous laughter.
Yeah, but
everybody doesn't understand that.
Yeah. See, here's the problem with the laughter. It might be a nervous tick, and I certainly see where that could be.
Absolutely.
But when people are already emotionally compromised,
right,
and then we're told that they did get something that they did not get and have not been getting for a while, woo!
It was almost had, like I said, almost happened today. It was a dude. He was in there. He little big. I had to size him up because I'm like, I ain't hold you, nigga. You want no little nigga. You want no little nigga. He was like,
yo, Nate Bob said, so she's the Joker? Yeah.
So I'm like, yo, he comes in, he like, yo, I came in yesterday. I was Sam Jones.
Sam.
I came in here yesterday. I was told that my mail was on its way yesterday. I did not get any mail yesterday. Where the fuck is my mail?
Right.
Guy comes out. I think he might have been in charge today. He gives him his ID. Goes back. He comes back like 5 minutes later. He said, I'm sorry, brother, I don't got no mail for you.
Oh, damn it.
This guy goes the fuck off.
Can't even blame him.
He's trying to control himself. He even says, brother, listen, I hate that I'm even talking to you like this, but I need my fucking mail. I need you to go back there and go get my fucking. So
you better send me something. Like you, you better go write me a letter and put my name and address.
It was another older dude in there. And like we talk to the dude. Like, I get you frustrated, but there's nothing good is gonna come from you wilding out.
No, it's not, because if some shit happens in that post office, if there's some shit happens in there,
that nothing is good. Nothing good is gonna come from you wilding out.
And you us, so you know what's gonna happen. You know what they're gonna do. Right.
It's just not where I get where you like, bro. I get where you coming from.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
But it's nothing. It's nothing. It's nothing that it's not helpful. I get your point. So the other thing, what's happening is these people have this feature, the informed delivery. What I'm finding out is that informed delivery comes from the main post office, the processing. What they do is they take a picture of your mail.
The one downtown, the big building downtown.
Yes.
Okay.
The one that you can't go to get your mail.
Yeah.
It comes from that. They take a picture of it there, and then they email it to you, telling you that you're gonna get your mail that day. But if it doesn't get processed, it doesn't get delivered to the post office, your local post office. And even if it does get processed at the main post office, damn it, when it gets to the local post office, it still might not have been processed yet because they're understaffed.
Yeah.
So you got people, you have crazy scenarios like this one lady. she's getting her pictures from the post office, the informed delivery, and she's like, all right, hold up. I got this picture. I got this mail that said that it should be getting here today.
Mm-hmm.
But there's mail that was supposed to be here last week that I haven't gotten yet. And I'm like,
damn it.
Bruh. Like, realistically, what I'm waiting for could possibly cost me $200 if it doesn't get here at the time. What these other people are waiting for could possibly cost them their lives, their jobs, their cars.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing.
It's one of these things where, like, we don't, a lot of times we take shit for granted.
Yes,
right.
Absolutely.
So it's certain processes that's in place, and this is also one of the arguments that I used to make with those people who act like there's not a social contract. Like, I ain't saying no social contract. All right.
No, you live in a society.
Come on, stop
it. That's the signing of the social contract.
Right. You're partaking.
Anytime that you take in anything that the society provides, that's your signing of the social contract.
That's a signing of your partake. It literally is helping you survive.
Right.
So this is one of those things, like you said earlier, it's infrastructure.
Yeah.
Where we get so used to these things running a certain type of way, we don't think about what happens when they don't. Or when they're not running the way that we've come to expect them, because it's one of these background processes that you don't think or worry about, because you got other shit to worry about. And when it doesn't, it causes all kinds of shit, because that brother could very well have went off.
He could.
We are hard pressed to blame him, considering what he's supposed to be getting, that he hasn't. You don't know what that's doing to his life,
right?
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I did. He can't. I don't want to project on him, but it could be a scenario where you taking care of your mother. Your mother's sick. She got medicine that's supposed to come in the mail.
Absolutely.
But she needs to take every day, and this is her third day without being able to take it. Like, that's not something to sneeze at. Like, and like I said, outside of those couple little things, I'm not blaming the workers.
Right.
There are things that they could have absolutely done better, sure. But the overall problem, it's nothing they can do about that.
That's right. Because
she was telling us about one lady, manager there. She was like that manager ain't shit. Y'all say is everything okay in Casa de Gin?
Something falling down the steps. I don't know.
That's not kosher.
As long as it ain't a person,
right. That's not.
Can't really. Goodness gracious.
Okay. Yeah. Damn. What was I about to say? Oh, the manager. She was like, y'all don't want to talk to the manager. She not here, but she wouldn't be helpful because she was in here. Apparently, she was in there the other day when this employee got into it with a customer, and the manager did nothing, just stood there.
Wow.
And I'm like,
wow.
Yeah, that's trash.
Wow.
That's trash. It was a woman in there today. She was pregnant. She needed to try your mail. I don't know what she's looking for.
Exactly.
She seemed like it was important that what she was looking for. And
let's just call a spade for a minute. So we know, how you get all those little dumbass ads and advertisements and shit like that. No one's gonna.
We know nobody's caring about that.
Nobody's going up there caring about that. You know what I'm saying? They up there looking
not up here for junk mail.
Yeah,
we're not up here for junk mail. So, she got into it with one of the people behind the counter because I'm like, and normally I would blame her. Under normal circumstances, I would fault her.
Right.
Because she said something that under normal circumstances I would call stupid as fuck.
Yeah.
She was like, where's the mail? Where's my mail? Where's my mail? I've been told that my mail's on the way. My mail's on the way. When I called, they told me my mail will be up front. Now I'm up front. Where the fuck is my mail?
Yeah.
And the lady was like, well, the carrier is out on leave because she's pregnant. You don't. Listen, under normal circumstances, maybe you say that. But under this circumstance, and you see that this woman is pregnant,
yeah,
might not be the best time to play the she's pregnant card as to why she's not getting her.
Yeah.
I'm pregnant too. Fuck, don't be telling me no shit about working while you're pregnant, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I can't.
What can you say?
And then
she
was like, well, I don't know what to tell you. She's not here to deliver. And the girl was like, well, you come deliver it then. And again, normally,
yeah,
I would dig in her ass for that comment.
Yeah.
But I get where the fuck she's coming from.
Yeah.
I get it. It's
wow.
So yeah, man. It's not what I will tell you is it's likely that there are protests coming.
Yeah.
Even just at this particular branch, it's likely. And I've heard so many people just over the yesterday and today talking about they calling 45, they calling 13.
Oh boy, they start calling 45 and 13. You already know, like
nigga.
Yeah, the wheels is turning. And here's the thing that's unfortunate, but it is a reality of life. This horse shit, because I'm gonna tell you, the coronavirus had something to do with it, but trust me when I tell you that in my opinion, the vast majority of why the works are gummed up was because of that 2020 election. Yeah. Because there are certain things that was taking place that was kind of weird from people that were put in power there. And this is the first year and that you had this amount of bullshit about mail-in ballots.
Right.
And when you have an administration that's in power, that's openly hostile to the idea of mail-in ballots all of a sudden.
Hold on. Sam, you ain't been around for a while. Our take would not be unbiased on that particular question.
No, not at all. Not at all. We bias as fuck. We bias. You know what I'm saying? Fuck that. My man's he's routinely spars with bigger dudes, not worried. I'm there. But
we're like metaphorically in big.
Metaphorically team we can't Davis.
Yeah. Like we would not be.
Nope. He gonna win. We just that.
You ready? I gotta go eat this food. You ready to get
okay? Yeah. So Joe, if you haven't, has he clicked in?
Yeah.
He's in. Yeah. Bring him in.
Bring him in.
Yep.
Boom.
Hey,
Joe. Right back.
Good to see you guys. Hey, SPJ, good to finally meet you in person.
He went to get some food. He'll be back.
No problem.
Joe, it's all about food with this guy. See, him and Adequate are always pointing the finger at me about the constant imbibing of food, right? The fact is, those two guys, like a Hoover vacuum. Like, it don't stop. Don't stop.
Well, yeah, you've met me in person, so you know I'm not gonna be criticizing anybody about how much they eat.
Yeah, facts.
I'm pushing 600 pounds. I'm not going down that route.
Man, let me tell you something, Joe. It's good to have you on the show. For those of you who don't know Joe used to have a YouTube channel, and I'm secretly trying to convince him to start his channel back up again and start doing content. A lot of his content was social political stuff like that. I always felt like your take on a lot of those topics was sobering. It was calm. It wasn't unnecessarily inflammatory. And I feel like that in the time that we're in now, that's needed, especially coming from out of the rhetorical community that we came out of doing the whole atheist movement thing. Like where a lot of that is turned to complete shit. A lot of that commentary has started to complete shit. So it's like to have your voice added in that mix, I think would be helpful. So I am always going to be pushing. I know you're busy. You running a business. You're doing all that. I'm always going to be pushing for Joe to start putting videos back up on his channel. I'm always going to be pushing for that.
And I'll tell you what, the last year has between you've pushed me a lot, and events of the last year have pushed me a lot. I've written a lot of scripts in my head, and it's all a matter of like getting in front of the camera and actually doing them.
Right.
Because especially I started a series just before I stopped making content. I started doing a series called Racing to the Bottom, and it's actually about race issues here in the world, but particularly in America.
Right.
And I've made a few videos for this. I just haven't been making them regularly. But there's been so many things, and that's why when we start talking about reparations, obviously it's something I definitely have a lot to say about.
Right.
And that's not something I do want to address because and me, I always tried to be a calm guy and be thoughtful.
Right.
And one of the things that's kind of taking me back out of my shell and actually making me a little bit more vociferous is that when events like George Floyd happen, and if the good thing has come out of it is I woke a lot of white people up to what's really happening, what's been happening to us forever.
Yeah.
But it also brought out like the apologists and those people that are the white supremacists, and it's kind of laid them bare as to what they're really all about. Is like you watch a guy be choked to death slowly for 9.5 minutes, and then say, well, what was he doing before that? It's like what could he have been doing that would have justified that? Even just say he was the worst guy. Just say he just shot a kid in the head and stepped on a puppy. Right. It doesn't matter. Right. That none of that rises to the level of a cop executing someone, torturously.
That's not his job. That's not even his job to do.
No.
Not even his job to do.
And so I'm tired. I reached that point where, I'm tired of, we've always been in a situation where we have to measure our voices, because if we don't, we get even more marginalized than we already are.
They'll shut us
out. We get shut out completely. Yeah. And that's why sometimes, like, okay, I've tried to explain this to some of my white progressive friends about Obama. It's like, okay, Obama did a lot, but he didn't do everything we would have hoped. But I'm like, he almost got killed, and he didn't do everything he could have. Just imagine if he even attempted.
Yeah, it's not. There's not an apparatus in place, because I actually was talking about this earlier today. So there's a small window of time, where Black people have been able to express their perspective on the history of this country and the current things that's going on. Small window of time. And because previously, before that, I mean centuries before that, it was whatever the dominant demographic said it was. Right. Whatever happened in history is what they said happened in history. Nobody else had a voice. So this small window of time, a few decades at the most, that we've been able to write books and have commentary on this stuff, and they couldn't even take it. It's become intolerable to the point where they must push back with all of the levers of power that they have available to them, which is substantial at this time, because
that's
even for this little window of a few decades, when our scholars have been able to talk and speak and get on platforms to say what actually happened to us and what is continually happening to us, they can't take it.
Yeah,
the pushback to the 1619 project. Oh, they're going crazy. They want to put legislation in place and all of the shit now to keep you from even talking about that in any way that doesn't present the United States as a red, white, and blue pom-pom carrying, yay, we are number one. If you ain't talking about it that way, they don't want to hear from you.
Right.
And that's difficult, man.
Well, look at how they reacted to Mrs. Obama, Michelle Obama, when she talked about, it was the first time she was really, truly proud of America. Yeah. And they jumped on her. And it's like, well, look at the history, man. There's, I mean, think about how many people, even Black people didn't even know about Tucson until a few years ago.
Yeah, facts.
We built so that's the thing. They always try to tell us, oh well, if you guys actually worked and built something, you'd have something. No, we built something, and you literally fucking bombed us and killed hundreds of people and took it away from us. Yeah. I myself, my own family, my father's from Alabama, and one of my uncles built up a business, and he was, it was in Abbeville, Alabama, and it was mostly, it's a black community. It's mostly selling to black people.
Right.
So at least you would have in the community. So what did they do? They had him declared mentally incompetent, put him in a mental institution, and then had him killed.
Wow.
Hey, Negro. You're
wow.
you're stepping out. You're too much. You have to be put in
you're
your
uppity.
place.
You're uppity.
You're uppity. And that's what it is. So it's like, well, no wonder we have no generational wealth. And this ties in with the whole thing with reparations.
Right.
Because it's not just about slavery.
Facts.
It's not just about slavery.
Facts. Joe, this is a point that SBJ brought up on the show weeks ago, where he said they want to keep it compartmentalized during the slavery era for a reason.
Yes.
Because they want to be able to have an argument because the facts don't support their position.
Right.
So they say, oh, it's a long time ago and nobody alive then that's alive now.
Nobody alive has ever been a slave.
I want to give you some perspective, and I got some perfect perspective on this. My oldest, the longest living formerly enslaved ancestor died in 1957 at age 108. My father knew him. My cousin Carrie, who was born in 1933, is still alive. I have a relative. She lives right here in my town, here in New Jersey, that knew someone who had been a slave. So there's living people who knew people who had been enslaved. So this idea that this was like a million years ago, was horseshit.
Right. And it's like you said previously. It's about more than just that era of time, because the assumption when they only make it about that, the assumption is that, and right after we had the Emancipation Proclamation, they stopped fucking with us.
Right. Like Louis C.K. said, like it was a clean shit. You didn't have to wipe,
Right.
Well done, yay!
Hey, it's all over, guys. Everything's forgiven. No,
we're free.
That's right.
Look, it's a state thing. This is the thing I always tell people. I tell the people because there is a line between regular, ordinary people who had nothing physically to do with any of that. And then there's the state. This is the same government, the same country. There are still treaties that this government honors today that was put together and signed by people who are no longer alive. And they're still honoring that. You can't
No. Virtually everything. Because we can't understate this.
Right.
Virtually everything. What is one of the biggest things that our opponents will say when we try to get some shit passed? Well, that's unconstitutional.
Right.
How many people y'all know from 1776 that's still walking around?
And y'all still citing the stuff that was written back then. Dude, there's whole organizations that are still around, that are focused in on certain principles from the Constitution. So the whole idea that you can't hold this government responsible, but some stuff, come on, it's ridiculous.
And the irony is these are the same people who fly Confederate flags and check their ancestry so they can prove that they're sons of the Revolution, or they're Mayflower descendants and all this other shit. The Mayflower was 1620.
Right.
And see, that's the whole, and that's where the biggest crime, the biggest part of the crime, or where it started. Is, see, that's the thing when it comes, and they go, because they always say it's about heritage. Their white heritage. 1620. My ancestors were on the Mayflower. My ancestors fought in the Revolutionary War. My ancestors fought in War of 1812 or the Civil War. They've erased our ancestors' heritage.
Right.
And this is one thing I did a video on. It started out about Black History Month and how that incenses them, but what it's really done and why it's not wrong. They said, well, how come black people can have black pride, but it's wrong to have white pride? I'm like, well, because you made us black. We were Ethiopians and we were Nigerians and whatever, or actually, really, we were the tribe. We were whatever tribe we were. We were Mandinkian and we were Hutu and Tutsi. And you took that from us.
Took it,
and you made us. You're all black. You're nothing. You're not from here. You're black. So then we
said to be white.
So then we embraced that because that's all we had.
That's all we had. That's all we had.
Because you made it, you lumped us all together as one group, and then when we embraced it, you got mad.
Yeah.
Because now that's our heritage is black.
Right.
And now that's not good because oh shit, they like it now. Fuck, what are we gonna do about that now? They're gonna gang up on us, but that's been the whole crime. And so again, it's the way that they try to do this and why they're against 69. It is all about erasure. So they don't want people to know about Jim Crow. They don't want people to know about the black codes. They don't want people to know about what do you call it? Sharecropping. Yeah. And they don't want them to know about the Tuskegee experiment and Tucson and Rosewood and on and on. Dozens of other things. Yeah. And think about this. And I always point out, the people that try to act like this shit's forever ago. The Fair Housing Act of 1970 was passed in my lifetime.
I was born in 69.
You were born in 69. You're at the lifetime too. The things signed in 64. Most of my siblings were alive.
My brother.
So this is not ancient history.
No, by no means. By no means.
That's why I said the argument doesn't need to go back past 65.
Right.
Right, and especially when you talk about us having a voice. It's funny when white people try to act like all this shit's new, like the police acting up is new. Right. Did you miss all the video of the dogs in the water cannons and the police stopping kids from going to school and segregated water fountains?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So all these people that are like, America's more divided than ever. Really? Not
really?
No.
It's so funny because, and this is why I no longer subscribe to the carrot on the stick that they've been putting in front of our face, because we always think, oh, this is the moment of awareness. They thought that back during the civil rights struggle. Oh, this is the moment. And then suddenly, a few decades later, it's all forgotten again. Oh, what are you talking? It doesn't take much to erase you, especially if you're powerless.
Mm-hmm. Well, basically, we went from third-class citizens to second, and they were like, well, that's progress. Isn't that good enough?
Right.
You're not third-class citizens anymore. You're second-class citizens. Isn't that much better?
You're moving along.
Yeah.
You're doing very well.
You wonder how many of them, if they were in that situation where it's like, well, we used to hit you with sticks. Now we every day. Now we only hit you with sticks every other day. Wasn't that good enough?
Zero.
These are the people that they don't even want to have to wait a day for the gun.
Right. That's a fact. It's so funny because speaking to that, it's this idea that they're trying to combat the shit that happened, the shit that's happening, with them being aggrieved over something that is far less impactful. You had Joe Rogan on his show the other day say some stupid shit about how, it's really, really bad. It's really bad out here for white men to say stuff. You control all of the levers of power in this country.
Wait, but not even that. Specifically, you have a huge platform.
$200 million to talk.
I'm pretty sure they didn't give you that money for you to not talk.
Same thing with Bill Maher. He's got an international platform, and he talks about how he's censored. Fuck you, motherfucker. You're aggrieved about and again we want to talk about silencing, like, oh, you mean like black people couldn't vote for forever?
It's so crazy because when they talk about, I love to hear them go on these rants about how dangerous cancel culture is. Where was this energy when they canceled our entire community from generational wealth, from access to public facilities? When our whole community was canceled
to medical care.
To medical care.
The guy who invented the process to make blood plasma that
Charles
saves Charles Drew died because he wasn't allowed into. He bled to death. Because here's irony writ large. He bled to death because he wasn't allowed into a whites only hospital.
Yeah, to get the treatment that he developed that would have saved his life.
So this is why we're due reparations, because black people literally built the wealth of this country.
We
built the wealth of this country, and we got nothing out of it.
Got a pat on the back. And told one well, you guys, everything's cool now, so why don't you just pull yourself up by your bootstraps? Let me tell you, if y'all walk away,
you need boots first.
Listen, if y'all don't walk away with nothing else from this segment, hear me and hear me well. There is no present that's independent of the past. That's not how time works
at all.
That's not how time works.
Right. And if you look at the, they talk about this about, the average wealth of white families versus black families. Black families on average have almost nothing.
Yes.
Nothing.
Yes.
And they love to point to, they'll point to, some of us, we have like, risque spending habits, just like white people do. They don't aim this at poor white people who do the same thing.
Right.
But part of it is, Chris Rock talked about it, is like, you don't know how to, if you've never had money, you don't know how to deal with it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
You might get lucky. You might happen to have some type of relational skill inside of your head that you might be like, all right, this is different. Let me be different.
Right.
You might have that, but the chances are what you're used to is what you'll do.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, I've said this once before. Like, so one of the arguments I've heard against it is also, like you just said, well, black people don't know how to handle money. If you got into a car accident and the guy that caused the accident goes to court and fucked your car up, you're hurt, all of this, no judge is going to say to you, you know what? You deserve that money, but we're not going to give it to you because we look at your spending habits and you don't know what to do. No judge is going to say that.
Right.
So don't point at the fact that there are people in our community that spend whatever way they spend as a reason not to do it, because this is not about that. This is about you breaking something and then you legislated the break.
Right.
So that it can continue to happen and continue to do damage. This is about you repairing that.
Right. Exactly. And especially as I point out, it's not even like, it's not like the crime is over. Redlining doesn't officially happen, but we know from many studies that the effect still exists.
Yes.
We know, if your name is Dave Johnson, you have a better chance than if your name is Tyrone Johnson when you put your name on an application or for that job or that apartment, or if if I call, because I don't, quote unquote sound black, if I call, I'm going to get a much better result than Landon will, because they're going to go, hey,
I promise you, nobody would hire Landon.
Shut up.
And I'll tell you what, the number of times I've called in advance on something and then I showed up, it just to wide eyes. Oh shit, what do we do now? I love that. That's one of my favorite things.
I happen to have looked up in that my name is James Davis. So
yeah.
Until I show up with my locks.
Exactly. And then they're probably like, "Oh shit, what do we do now?"
Well, I know I wouldn't hire James. That's for damn shit. Look at him,
Cap.
But and the same thing too with criminal justice. We commit crimes at about the same rate.
Yes.
0.56 per 10,000, but we get arrested more, we get charged more, we get convicted more, we get sentenced for longer, and we're less likely to get granted parole.
Right.
So this is the most evil crime with statistics I could ever think of. People, white supremacists will look to justify their position is that, well, if you look at the jail population, black people are 13% of the population. We're like 40%, of the gen pop. So we're overrepresented by 3 times. Like, well, yeah, but it's actually if you don't know anything about math, if we're doing something at the same rate, but the all those other things happen. Of course. So in chemical engineering, we call that residence time. So if you calculate the residence time of a particle in a system, when it's being represented more, all these steps are happening more often. You're going to see the equilibrium point is going to be at about 40%. Right. So yeah, of course,
kind of like the residence time of Tim stuffing his face with donuts. versus when I stuff my face with donuts. It means that it's likely that you'll see him doing it on the show more than you see me doing it.
Exactly. You know.
First of all, I'm going to ignore that nonsense.
Stop you! I learned a thing. God damn it!
So you add up all these things. I'm like, so the crime is still going on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The crime is still going on, and we're still being held as slaves because the 13th Amendment only prevented slavery from people who were not in prison.
Right.
And so I hit something that hit me the other day that makes it even worse than I already thought it was. So it's bad enough that companies are hiring us, while we're overrepresented in prison, and they're hiring us and paying us, basically slave wages. But it's even worse because that's those companies are being subsidized by tax dollars.
Yes. Our tax dollars.
Because if those companies were paying the jail full price and the jail was keeping the excess, I can actually see that. Okay, you're paying for your cost of incarceration, but that's not what's happening. Is those companies are paying a very low rate, and then the prisoners are getting even smaller amount of that. So the jails are getting cheated, the taxpayers getting cheated.
Yeah.
On that labor. So we've basically allowed companies to effectively hire slaves.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's a whole mess. And look, we talked about this on the show one time before, where I was telling James about my aversion to programs, because a lot of times this is where they hide the fuckery. This is a way for them to take, let's say that miracle upon miracles happen, and the narrative shifts, and they decide the reparations is what they should be doing, right? When they start these programs, there's a bureaucracy there that's going to cost money. It's going to cost money to do all that paper pushing. It's going to cost money to do all that data processing. It's going to cost money to run that office or offices. Where does that money come from? Does that what they're going to do? They're going to take it out of the reparations, but come out of the pot to do that. So also, we've seen programs where they start a program that's supposed to address a specific issue or problem, and it never does, but that program continues. So it's still sucking in money, but it's not doing what it's supposed to do. And then the other bad side to that is the narrative, because then they'll say, well, we did this. Isn't that enough? When it didn't even address the problem fully in the first place. So we still have the problem there. So it's a whole mess. It's not enough. It's a mess. And I've always felt like we get slighted in this conversation because there have been other groups that have rightfully gotten their reparations for the heinous behavior that was displayed to them. I don't want anybody to think this is not about me thinking they should. No, they should have gotten what they got. But every time it comes to us, there's hemming, there's hawing, they got all this nuance. They find all this nuance, and in other words, find a way to say, not cutting those checks for y'all. We appreciate, we understand, we know that it's always that sort of thing. And to me, that goes to some sort of ingrained perspective about how they view our community.
Yes,
it's ingrained, and
even among my liberal progressive, white liberal progressive friends.
Yes,
got that funk.
Yes,
we do a broadcast every Saturday night. Although this week it's going to be tomorrow for some reason. But anyway, and then here's a group of people that believe in principle,
right,
that Black people deserve reparations, but Paul and the rest of the group are still against it because, it's complicated and how do you do it? And I'm like,
that's what I was about to say. That is exactly what I was about to say. That is one of the differences. That is one of the differences that even the quote unquote allies will fall victim to.
Yes.
Those other groups were smaller groups. It was more specific grievances that lasted for a shorter amount of time. Right. We could just pinpoint, this is what you did, calculate quickly, this is what you get. Get out of our face.
I can actually pinpoint all of the things that they need to be paying for.
I know you can.
But see, this is the whole listen, and I'm not a scholar. There are literally scholars that worked on this. My thing is, what they're trying to do is this is the reason why they have such a hard time even having the conversation, a bill to have the conversation even had, because they don't want that talk, because they know the facts are not on their side.
There are bodies buried.
Well, yeah, and think about what James just said. They're literally making the argument. Well, this crime was so much bigger, we can't possibly make restitution for it.
Right.
So we hurt you so badly, we can't possibly fix it. So let's not even try.
Right.
Yeah.
Just forget about it. Everything's fine now.
Everything, and that's the thing. They want it to be fine.
No, they don't.
Because you're right. They don't actually want to be fine. They want us to think everything is fine.
Right.
Because there is social capital in us staying in the position we are in. There's social capital with that. And a lot of times they think, I don't know, man, that we're unschooled or we don't know what's going on. But look, I'm from the hood. I know a hustle when I say a hustle. I know a hustle. That's part of the hustle. No. Woo, woo, woo. It's fine. It's fine. Because you want to keep things in a certain way. And that's where a lot of the pushback is from. But I always felt like if you want to make a better society here, you want to get as many black people as possible feeling good about this place.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that you keep humming and hawing and not doing what you know the facts state that should happen will constantly keep a huge segment of our population, because I'm part of that segment. I'm not invested. I was born here through no control of my own. My first opportunity to be able to do it the way I want to do it, I'm out. I'm out. I'm not invested. Because for me, everything that we create, they take, first they weaponize against us and call us low scum. Look what they do. Look at that stuff they do. Then they start liking it, and then they monetize it. All right, and they don't get none of the stigma. They don't get none of the stigma that we got.
Over by then. We powerlessly run shit here.
Yeah.
Well, you think about it. Think about the kerfuffle over Cardi B and wet ass pussy.
Right.
So no one's yelling at the white record people making all that money off of her wet ass pussy.
They're yelling at her.
Right.
They're yelling at her and Megan.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
It is pretty insane, and that's the thing. It's like, and that's what I tried to explain. I've had a hard time in the past trying to explain cultural appropriation to white people. I finally hit on it. Mm-hmm. It's if you take something from a people, and you won't take the people. Right? So my perfect example was Ray Charles in Georgia. He was playing these segregated clubs in Georgia. And black people said to him, "Hey Ray, why are you doing us like that? You're going playing these places we can't go.
Mm-hmm.
So you're playing for these white people. They don't like you. They just want to make
they
money
want your
off
product,
you.
Right?
They want your product, but they don't
mm-hmm.
want you. You're playing at a place you can't be an attendant,
right?"
So he said, "Yeah, you know what? You're right," and he got blackballed. So that's the perfect example. They wanted his art, they wanted his content, but they didn't want him.
No.
And when he said, "No, if you want me to come in there, you got to take the people that are like me."
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
And they said, "Well, I'll show you." Well, Muhammad Ali, same thing, conscientious objector. Yeah. And what's interesting, I actually watched the movie that was about his case,
mm-hmm.
and literally there were Mormons and other religious people making the exact same argument he made.
Wow.
He was a black, and they were allowed, but here he's a black man and a Muslim. Oh my God!
Wow, yeah.
Double.
Yeah.
He's the devil, and so he was not allowed. He went to jail, and then when he got out of jail, he couldn't fight for 2 years, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's all about keeping us down, keeping us in our place. You will produce content for us, Negro.
You will dance across that stage. You will do your rapidy raps. Joe, there is a reason why I stopped doing live performances for the whole skeptic activism stuff. because they didn't want to pay.
Right.
They had no problem paying others to go up there and speak. They had no problem paying others even performing. There was one incident where they paid the guy, the band, to go up there and do their performance, and the crowd came to see me.
Right.
And when I left off the stage, they left out of the venue.
Yeah.
But these people still got paid. Stop doing that, because you're going to respect everything about this. Because the moment you don't, I'm no longer a part of it.
Right.
I'm no longer a part of it.
Yeah, we want what you could produce, but we're not. And here again, these are largely white, liberal, progressives, people,
right?
And they're the same ones who say don't expect artists to work for free and to work for exposure, and they still did that to you. Why?
Still did it. Yeah, we know what it is.
Or it's rap. It's a black art, so it's not. It's not like real art.
Joe, classic example. In 2012, when I performed at the Reason Rally, I was told couldn't have any profanity up on stage. That's what I was told.
That's what you were told.
Told me. So why was there a band up there using profanity? Oh, that's right. They wasn't rappity rapping, and they didn't look like this.
Right.
So it's less threatening coming from them, even though I'm rhyming about stuff the vast majority in this crowd agrees with.
Right. Hell, the Star Trek dude used profanity. Richard Dawkins used profanity.
Yes.
But
so it's clear.
It's different. It's different rules for us. It always has been different rules for us.
Yeah.
You know. And so again, part of the crime continues. The crime continues.
Yeah, the crime continues.
So this is why reparations is not about. It's not about 1619. It's not about 1865. It's about today.
Yeah. And like I said, the facts that does not support them, so they don't even want to have the conversation. This should have never been the case, where it took this long for something to pass just to have a conversation about it. That they betray their intentions at every turn through their actions. They can say what they want, but the actions speak louder than any words.
And the other thing that they try to do is they try to divide us.
Yeah.
So and here's something that happens. I don't know. You guys probably haven't experienced this, but you guys may have seen it. So, okay, obviously I'm a mixed race guy. I'm light skinned,
right?
But in America, I've had people like white people ask me, well, how do I identify? As if I had a choice. Like, no one's gonna fucking identify. If I walk around saying, well, I'm a white dude, they're all gonna laugh in my face and call me a nigger. I mean, that's
right.
Fact,
it's a fact.
Right?
It's a fact.
But unless of course I achieve something, it's kind of like Tiger Woods. He was the black golfer until he was the tops in the game. Mixed race.
Funny, I just had this conversation, a similar conversation with somebody that thread that I sent you.
Yeah. And so what I've actually had people say to me of all, and again, including white liberal progressives, say to me that they didn't think of me as black because I speak this way, I don't walk a certain way, I don't stand a certain way. I generally don't listen. I didn't tend to listen more rock and metal and stuff like that. And actually, I've challenged a few when they said it to me. I'm like, oh, so I don't fit your stereotype of what black people are.
Yep.
So you don't think of me as black, and you say this to me like it's a fucking compliment.
Yeah. Right. Or what about this one? I used to get this early on when I first started getting the audience and they start interviewing me on these platforms. He's very articulate.
Yep. We know that's not true.
Yeah. Shut up.
That always makes me think of Chris Rock's riff about Colin Powell. It's like, what voice did you think was going to come out of that head? I'm going to drop me a bomb today. I'll be transodent.
Hold them mackerel.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know how many times I've heard this shit. And again, even from liberals, and like, you're not this. Why do you say this? Like you're gifting me something.
Yes,
right.
Yes.
You didn't give me shit.
Yes.
I'm black. You know what? And because you know how I know? Because every bigot I've ever run into.
Yeah, it's something because Joe came around. He came to visit me. This last year, before the pandemic.
Yeah.
2019, something like that.
Yeah.
And we had a conversation on my porch. We were talking about, so take for instance, my experience I grew up in the black community. So I did not see as many examples of overt racism from whites until I got out of my neighborhood or the police came around there with the bullshit, right? But because he was raised in a mostly white community, he obviously stuck out like a sore thumb. So he saw and heard more overt bullshit, you know what I'm saying, about who and what he is than I did, even though phenotype wise, there was someone look at me, oh, okay, black guy.
Right.
But I grew up in our community amongst us.
Right. So that's the thing. So it works there. So I didn't run into the institutional racism problem of bad schools and unsafe neighborhoods. I had the best of all. So that's how it kind of manifests itself differently. So I got to go to better schools. I got some better opportunities, but I also got called a nigger a lot more.
Oh no, hold up.
It's a circle. You probably did.
We was called nigga
neck and neck.
But it was a compliment.
Probably neck and neck on that one.
That's good point. But and that's the thing, though. So I said, like, and it's the hard part was not having a support structure because I was raised by my white grandparents. They did their best, but they didn't have context. So there's only that can only go so far. So here's how fucked up it is to grow up in a white community when the black community is literally wherever you're standing. But I was trying to explain this to white people, white liberals of mine, like how ingrained white supremacy is in our society. Again, I grew up with very progressive grandparents who, were always taught me that I was no one, other people were not better than me. That there was no race was superior, all this kind of stuff.
Right.
But because you grow up in this environment where you're constantly being treated differently, my experience of being black was only negative. I didn't have any positive to a point where even as a child, I had a hard time referring to myself or even other black people. I would say people like me.
I remember you told me that.
And as another result was because I was also aware of that I was constantly being judged. I tried to avoid anything that was stereotypically black because I knew that was going to be judged. So I did not eat fried chicken or watermelon in front of white people that I wasn't related to or friends with until I was 35.
Listen, Joe,
35.
Of all of the bullshit that I had to deal with growing up, the bullshit James had to deal with growing up, I think you had it bad. Because listen, chicken is delicious and watermelon is nature's perfect food. So no,
hold on. You will not. I will not allow you. Everything is not nature's perfect food.
Everything can be.
Well, and as a result, I mean, and it wasn't really till actually a white friend was like, Joe, man, everyone loves fried chicken and watermelon. Chow down on that shit. But as a result, it wasn't until I started, because I didn't grow up with my siblings. It wasn't until I started to get to know them and hang out with them. There was a time when I did not feel comfortable in a room of all black people because, again, my mind, I was, this is a cultural,
it's a shift.
Yeah, well, and it's more cultural colonialism.
Yeah,
that was going on in my head because basically, of course, everyone around me had negative views of black people. All my experience as being a black person was negative. So, the same white supremacist attitudes, at least the fear side, that was all in my head.
Right.
So I didn't know how to relate. I actually had to take time of just hanging out with my siblings to like be comfortable. Like, no, this is normal. This is not an uncommon thing. But I just never had that.
Wow, Joe. Like I said, man, it's a lot of the situations that we find ourselves into are of no. It's nothing that we created ourselves. We just had to deal with it, and that's why, like, I do understand. People who weren't educated about what happened in this country, what is happening in this country, to them, it's really, but to us, it's like, dude, we've been saying this. We didn't just get here.
Yeah.
And the fact that you don't know anything about that, and we've been here for as long as you guys have been here, shows you the erasure. It shows you how they would. Nope, this is our story. We don't need to hear their story. We don't need to see what they're talking about. Their experience doesn't matter. It's what we say.
Right. They're exaggerating. It's not as bad, blah, blah, blah. Well, you know, if you think about it, Rich, I shared on Facebook a few weeks ago. You might have seen it. It's from one of the Richard Pryor's albums from like 74, 75. And he's talking about getting pulled over by the police and how, keeping his hands, visible, and he's not putting his hands near his pockets because he doesn't want to be reaching for his waistband. All the shit, and literally all the shit we're talking about today, 1974. Yeah. So that says that, this shit's been going on for a long time.
Yeah. And it's always,
anytime I get pulled over, wallet, registration,
scissors,
before they even get out the car. Listen, before they even get out the car, because I know what it is.
You know the drill.
I know what the situation is. Now, luckily, I haven't run into any of that, but you can't know.
I bought this product. I'm on a couple of black owned New Jersey website forums on Facebook, and somebody posted this thing, and I bought it, and I got it, and yet it made me cry. There was this young kid. He's like 12, 13 years old. He made this pouch. It's orange. It's something that you can slip over the door. You roll your window down, you slip on the door so that you can put all your documentation into so the cop can grab it without reaching in the car. You don't have to reach for anything. And on the one hand, I was like, oh, that's a great idea. And then it hit me that why the fuck is this a great idea? Why does this need to exist?
Yeah.
How and I was trying to explain to white people, like, you always tell us what we have to do and how we have to. You don't do any of this shit. You get out and yell at like my friend Dan.
I've seen it.
He was walking down the street and some cops started giving him shit, asking for his ID. He told the cop to fuck off. I'd be in a wagon. Oh, you guys, and you guys would get shot. I'd be in a wagon. You guys would get shot.
Right.
Yeah. Listen, the reason why that whole George Floyd thing was so triggering, besides the obvious, I've been in that position. I've had 2 cops with their knee on my back, 1 cop with a knee like this. I've been in that position. So now you take my experience and you multiply that by all the black people that saw that video. That shit's triggering. We walk around every day with that.
Yeah.
And these people have the audacity, these politicians have the audacity to act as if they're doing us a favor, wanting to talk about reparations. Really?
And these are the same people who mourn for Ammon Bundy. That's the fucking one of the Bundy clan that were running at the police with a gun saying, shoot me.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that. And they mourn him.
Here's the thing that's crazy about that, Joe. At the time that it happened, right before he got shot, I watched live the interview he had with MSNBC. He literally said what he was there to do on camera, and then he did it. And there was somebody that had the audacity to try to challenge me on a post I made about it. And I said, are you nuts? I don't feel for this guy.
No.
This guy did all the stuff that y'all seem to think that we do on a regular basis, except for he did that to a federal building. They took the federal building over with and then pulled out guns on the federales. And your ass is sitting here telling me I'm supposed to feel bad when just months ago, a situation that had nothing to do with what he did happened to some guy who just did the most inane thing and got shot by the cops. And we couldn't get y'all to comment on it. We couldn't get y'all to say nothing about it. But you want me to run around and act as if because Americans sell it. What the fuck? Where was this guy?
Yeah.
He was an old dude. He was an old dude too. Where was this guy when Fred Hampton Sr. got shot? Did he say anything? Did he say anything?
Nope. Well, my favorite one to challenge him with, and this is again, it proves that the Second Amendment is white supremacy too. That because the Second Amendment doesn't seem to apply to us. John Crawford III, you're probably familiar with him. So a guy was in Walmart buying a toy gun, and someone called the police saying he was pointing it at people, which he wasn't.
Right.
Police made no attempt to engage him, no attempt to stop and talk to him. They snuck up on him,
Yep,
ambushed him, shot him, said that he didn't respond to their. They literally gave him no time.
Right.
They literally pop up and shoot him.
Right.
You know, it's like freeze or we'll shoot. Pop.
Right.
And where was all the libertarians? Where's all the Second Amendment advocates? Because it's an open carry state. So it would have been if that had been a real gun, he would have been perfectly in his rights. So which says if the Second Amendment's not about white supremacy, then if I was a Second Amendment advocate, I'd be like, hey, that could have been me.
Yeah.
Because same state earlier that year in Ohio, there were a whole bunch of so-called Second Amendment protesters walking around Safeway and Walmart with their AR-15s.
We've seen the pictures in the videos. We've seen the pictures in the videos.
Yeah, and they all got around to walk around with their guns, and none of them got shot, none of them got arrested or harassed.
Right.
But here's a black dude with a fake gun that they thought was real, executed, and none of them, not a one. Where's the NRA? NRA. If I'm on the NRA, I'm like, oh my God, that could have been one of our guys. I'm gonna get out there and see. This is why we have to have these rights, because the police can't do this to a citizen. Crickets.
And I had a conversation with somebody that was heavy on that around that time, and I said to him, "You see, this is how y'all screw up. Y'all could have so much black support because when y'all sit here and talk that anti-establishment, that these authorities are corrupt, all of that shit,
that's right about people can
try about. But the fact is, when shit happened to us, y'all don't give a fuck, and it shows." Right. So we don't look at you as credible. You have no credit with us at all, you know? And as a result of that, when we see shit finally happen to y'all, we shrug our shoulders because that's what you do to us. But you would have so much support if when these situations take place where a police officer clearly wrongfully murders an unarmed black person, if y'all went as hard, still wearing all your little fatigue stuff and all this stuff, if y'all went hard and was like, that cop was wrong, you can't do that, that's an American, they missed the boat on that every single time.
And what do we always hear? What happened before that? What happened before that?
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. We know what happened before with Ahmaud Bundy, don't we? We know.
We do. That's the thing. How? Because his people filmed it. That's the shit. His own fucking people
filmed it. Right.
You know, but they're you're right. They especially, and that's what gets me is when we were out there with BLM, and they're out the same people who are like, anti-government, anti-establishment, and they're out there with blue line flags. I'm like, oh, so you're showing out for the agents of state violence. The representatives of state violence. You're out for them today.
Well, see,
because it's us.
See that is over. At the January 6th, I don't want to hear it from any of them. You were literally beating cops over the head with flagpoles, spraying them with mace, and crushing them in between doors. I don't believe you. You need more people. You need way more people. You can't tell me these are the same people that was running around with the blue lives as if there's such a thing as a blue life.
Right.
Spoiler alert, there are no blue lives.
That's right.
That's a job. What are you talking about?
And by the way, with a few exceptions, a few bad neighborhoods, nowhere near as dangerous of a job as they like to make out to be.
No, absolutely not.
More electricians die every year than cops.
Listen, here's the thing that's crazy about that, Joe. That's what I always tell people. James and I come from Emerson Village in Baltimore. I was not on the porch. I'm going to be clear with you. I was not on the porch. I was part of that subculture that was on the bullshit. So I knew guys.
But the porch wasn't safe.
Shut up. I knew guys. I knew guys that had no problem shooting another black person.
Right.
That would not even think about shooting a cop.
Right.
That's not what? No, hell no. Like out of all the people that I knew from back during that time, there's only one guy who I knew if the situation called for would actually do that. The vast majority of these guys, I'm not shooting at no motherfucking cop. No.
Because society cares about cops and doesn't care about us, especially if you're on the corner.
Yes. It's not a thing where it's super dangerous. The most I'll give them is when you go to raid a house, because I come from the era where they was doing that a lot in my neighborhood. You don't know what's behind that other door. That person could have just loaded up that gun, ready. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'll give you that can be crazy.
Right.
But all that other stuff, most of the time they didn't even get out of their cars. They literally was riding by, looking like an occupying army, staring at people, telling people that. A lot of the times they would stop me. They wouldn't even get out of their car. They would just go, "I need you to lift your shirt up."
Wow.
I need you to turn around, lift your shirt up. So they wasn't even really engaging with the neighborhood.
Right.
They didn't know the shop owner that owned bus stop up at the top of the village. At one time was a black guy that owned it. They didn't know him. They didn't know Mr. McCory. They didn't know none of the shopkeepers. The only people they knew was that subculture that was committing the crimes, but they treated everybody in that neighborhood like they were committing crimes too. Most of the people in the hood, spoiler alert for somebody that's never lived or been in the hood, the vast majority of people that live in the hood go to work.
Yep.
Right.
They don't commit crimes like that. They don't.
Right. And they don't like the gangbangers either.
They don't like the gangbangers either. They don't want them sitting on their porch. They don't want them being around their kids. There is a subculture, and the reason I know, because I was part of the subculture, it was always the same people going back and forth to jail.
Right.
Always.
And
it was the same people.
And this is the reason why, to me, one of the most disgusting things that anyone can ever say to me is, "What about Chicago?"
Yeah,
I swear, if anyone says that to me, in person, I am going to get arrested because I'm going to fuck out of it.
Right.
Because, and I just, again, that's something I covered in a video. I was like, all right, so basically what you're saying is black people are savages.
Yeah.
So what happens to any of them, even the innocent ones, is irrelevant.
Yes.
And I'm like, well, you know what? I'm not a gangbanger. I've never been a gangbanger. Right. So the fact that there are gangbangers doesn't mean that my life should be forfeit if a police wants to step out and break the rules.
Right.
Because I'm not armed. I'm not doing nothing to him. So my life doesn't matter because some other dude that's superficially like me.
Basically.
That's why. And I'm like, and you mentioned before about being on the ground. Like, so okay, now I got a nephew who has bad news. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes he stays at his mother's place, sometimes he doesn't. So my sister and a couple of my other siblings were over visiting that sister, and then they left, and they're looking for my nephew, and they pulled over my sister Gloria, got her out of the car, had her face down on the pavement, and cuffed while they searched her car, without consent, by the way, looking for my nephew. Because they thought he might be in the trunk or some shit like that, which is fucking stupid because that doesn't happen.
Come on.
So here they had, at the time, a late 40s-year-old woman with a bad back.
Oh my goodness.
On the dirt, on the ground, kissing gravel, because they could. She was no threat to anybody.
Yeah.
That's
crazy.
My Aunt Viola, who's in her 70s, elderly, she's like 77 years old. This happened last summer, 2 summers ago. She was driving, and there was like a stop sign. I think there was construction, and so she stopped, and the cop stopped her and made her wait for like over 20 minutes. And she's like, "Well, officer, what do you want? If you want my driver's, information,
something. Let's move this along."
So after like 20 plus minutes, could have been as long as a half hour. So she turns down a side street because she's, she got shit to do. Then they pull her over and they're pulling her out of the car and roughing her up. 77-year-old woman.
That's crazy.
So what threat was he? Was she? Right. So again, because some shithead in Chicago, they can rough up my aunt in Alabama.
Yeah. That's how they think. And I did this on the show one time before, but to me it bears repeating just to show you the scope of how they try to paint all of us with this brush.
Yeah.
So in 2018, the U.S. Census Bureau estimated there were 47,841,851 African Americans that live in the United States, which is 14.6% of the total American population of 327.2 million. This includes those who identify as Black only and as Black in combination with another race. All right. So in 2017, 2,221,697 Blacks were arrested. Of that number, 5,025 were arrested for murder. That's 0.25. That's 0.25% of all Blacks that were arrested. Now, you really put this in perspective. That 5,025 or 47 million is only 0.01%.
Wow.
So the games they play with numbers is they'll say, oh, 90% of Black people that are killed by other Black people, because that 90% is a huge number.
Right.
But when you look at the rest of the stats, by the way, with white folks, it's like 86, 88.
Yeah.
It's not that far of a difference because most murders are intraracial. Because who you live around, that's who these criminals tend to attack,
most
right?
crime in general.
Yeah,
most crime in general.
Right. It's proximity.
Right, it's proximity. That's a small percentage of Black people that are actually, and mind you, those numbers were people that were arrested, not convicted, arrested. Right. So it's an even smaller amount that are actually convicted.
Right.
So to paint the entire community, all Black people in all 50 states, with this paint of being these savage apes that are running around here just killing people, killing each other, doing all this, is absurd, and it's part of the reason why we see the stuff happening with the police. That's why we see it.
Oh yeah.
Well, see, what I always like to shove back at them when they try to do this black on black bullshit. I'm like, well, you know what? 99% of all serial killers are white, and 100% of all serial killers who eat their victims are white.
Now, do you want to be painted? Do you want to be painted with that? Right. That's all. Most Black people don't kill each other.
No.
They don't. Most Black people don't. Say that as many times as necessary. Put it on a billboard. Most Black people don't kill each other.
Right. Most black people don't commit crime.
Period.
But yeah, and that's why. And then the funny thing is that they keep pointing to Chicago. Is that Chicago's like 30th in murder.
Yeah,
it's not even close.
Yeah.
Most of the top places are in red states.
Yeah.
Because because in red states there's no attempt at curative justice whatsoever.
Right.
They think beating people with it's that very Calvinist beating people with sticks and there's no redemption kind of attitude is what prevails.
Yeah, it's crazy because it's just like when they talk about the stats with the police. So just so everyone knows, there is no national thing set up where they actually keep track of how many police have done such and such. There's none of that. There's none of that. So you're going off of the numbers these precincts are giving you.
Right.
So imagine that. That couldn't be corrupt, right? Right? Surely the police union would tell us the truth, right?
To that point, a friend of mine, one of my gaming buddies, unfriended me a couple of years ago because I had posted an article basically saying that like police, there's an incentive for them to do things the way they do. There's financial incentive, and he was like, oh, Joe, you finally got off the rails, and blah blah blah. Two weeks later, an article came out that said exactly that with numbers, and I sent to a mutual friend. I said, hey, send this to Jason so he can see that if I've gone off the rails, so have facts.
Yeah. Reality is off the rails now.
Yeah, reality has a liberal bias,
We're in the end game now. It's so crazy. Like where we're at right now is so crazy, but I think a lot of people are rebelling against the fact that their idea of what this country is not true.
Right. And
they don't like to hear people who have a different experience in this country. They may have a different outlook because of that experience. They don't want to hear their point of view because that cognitive dissonance creeps in. That couldn't be true because America, fuck yeah, right? And that couldn't be true. And so they kind of, there's always going to be pushback because they're looking to defend. And I always say, dude, don't you realize that this harms you too?
Mm-hmm.
This harms you too. You don't have to be part of the Black community for this behavior to be harmful for. Because if you allow police with impunity to do what the fuck they want to do, you're next.
Yep. Yeah, well, that's the thing, it's Chris Rock did a bit about that after 9/11 because he was talking about how a lot of people were very happy to go along with, the anti-Muslim, and then first it was Muslims, and it was immigrants, and he goes, that's when I started listening because I go, Negroes and Jews are next. He's like, that train's never late.
Mm-hmm. that train is never late.
and this is one thing I pointed out to friends that were first on board with the right wing with when they were talking about illegal immigration, and I'm like, legal immigration is next, right? They're going to start more, and sure enough,
what they did.
They start melding it because, as I said, it was never about legal versus illegal.
No.
It's xenophobia and white supremacy.
Yeah, it's it's a lot of. There was a teacher named Dr. Frances Cress Wilson. Now she said a lot of things in her book that I thought was far afield of the facts, but the one thing she did say in there was the threat of white genetic annihilation.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, this idea in this country that if we keep letting in all these brown people, right? Keep letting all these brown people, they're gonna outnumber us, and that's gonna be an issue. And I always say to them, I thought you said minorities had it good here. So why are you afraid of becoming a minority?
Right. Yeah, why are minorities treated badly in this country or something?
Somebody tell me. Somebody let me know.
Is there some weird news that I wasn't made aware of?
Do you have a link?
Dick Coughlin did a great video about this when the so-called race realists started cropping up. He's like, okay, you guys are out there like, one, you say that black people are genetically inferior, but somehow if white DNA and black DNA mix together, the result is that the black DNA is, takes over. He says, wouldn't that mean that black DNA was superior? Hey, he says, how weak is white DNA that it can't fight back against the black DNA?
It's so stupid. But the thing is, you can get people to buy into it because it appeals to their ingrained biases.
Well, especially when there are misleading statistics to back them up. Like one of the things I'm sure again with the race realist, this guy Philip Rushton. That's the race realist. He's their boy. So he did this thing, and it was like, okay, back in the 70s, on IQ tests, which we know IQ tests have cultural biases in them. So black people were averaging around 91, and of course, the thing is normalized around white people. So white people are always going to be 100.
Right. I
was like, well, why don't you normalize them around Asians who tend to do higher? Why not them?
No. We don't do that here.
Yeah, exactly. So, but then in the 90s, when they did it again, and now the black society was averaging around 94. Now, in reality, what's happened? Black people are getting more economic opportunities.
Yeah.
There's some progress and all this kind of stuff. So I say, what did black people suddenly get genetically better in 20 years? Did we get
that's how evolution works.
Yeah.
Right.
So I said, hey, well, let's keep going. Maybe we'll catch up.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I would always ask them to. I said, well, and then I would say, well, I have a very high, IQ. Every test I've taken is much higher than that, well above average.
Right.
And they're like, well, you're part white. And I said, yeah, but my IQ is way higher than the average white person, or even the average above. My IQ, I've never tested less than like 145, and I've tested as high as 160. So
black DNA.
Yeah, So by any measure, that's actually is genius rate. The genius spectrum. So I'm a genius, which means I'm smarter than 97, 98% of white white people. So how do you explain that?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
And I said, this is the other problem I have with you guys, because even if you could convince me that there was some genetic thing, which first off, Rushton doesn't even say it's 100% genetic.
Right, exactly.
He says it's about half of it's genetic and half of it is social economic, which says, okay, which means we can make up most of the difference, which means that would put us at around 96, 97, which that's marginal. The difference of that is not going to be significant.
Mm-hmm. So just give us reparations so the social political stuff goes away, and then
there you go. Right there's another argument for it, right? So I said, so it's still and as a result though, because you don't know what any individual that you come up upon is, you don't know where they are on the spectrum,
right?
Then if you don't treat us as individuals and you treat us by the statistic, then you're still discriminating against people.
Yes.
You know, even in a way that your own statistics suggest you should not.
Right. Right. Ken in the comments calls it genetic homeopathy. Yeah. Yeah.
Homeopathy. Yeah. It's crazy. I mean, so it's like, so you run into me, you don't know what my IQ is. Hey, I'm in that 140 to 160 range. So, but if you treat me, I got a 94 because that's what the typical black person is. Well, then you've done me a disservice. You've discriminated against me unfairly.
Yeah. So how about just treat people as individuals, and we go about our business with that. Right. Joe, it's been a pleasure to have you on the show, bro.
Absolutely.
And I am still petitioning for you to start dropping videos on that channel. I am still petitioning for that. If I have to get a bunch of people to protest with picket signs outside your door, get you to stop making shut up, you. Shut up, you. That's what we're going to do. I really want you to do that. Tell them the name of your channel. He's going to do it. Tell them the name of your channel.
Okay, it's Serious Mind. It's spelled SIRIUS, like the dog star.
Right.
And Mind, MINED, as in extracted from the earth. Because I like plays on words.
Right. Because Joe got bars.
Well, yeah. And I want to say too, Landon was one of my early one of the early people that shouted me out when I started making content. Mm-hmm. And I also want to say, of all the shout outs I got, yours got me the most subscribers.
Hey, how about that? Hey, influencer from day one.
Power in the tombstone.
You did, because I did it. I did a video. It was about the whole isms thing where people try to say isms, and it was like, and my video was only like a minute long, and you were just like,
y'all go check this out. That was how many years ago? That was a lot of years ago.
That was why my first video was like 2011, so it was a long time.
Yeah, ago. That was a long ass time ago, man. Like I said, it's been a pleasure. Going to, of course, definitely talk to you, of course, offline or whatever. Listen, anytime we carve out a segment, we got you. As long as we have the time, we got you.
I'm happy to. Anytime you guys want me, I'm happy to do it.
Absolutely. I appreciate you, bro. Thanks for coming on.
Take care, guys.
All righty. All right. That was
a bit of awesome.
Really, yeah. That was really what's the word? Dang, what's the word I'm looking for? Hopefully informative to some people.
Yeah.
Like I really hope some people that may or may not just listen to this just because they might know you or I got something out of that. Yeah.
Now I know you have some other things you try to go in on, right?
Oh, nigga.
But before you do, I'll be right back.
What the fuck? I hate that he does this to me. Like, I just don't understand. Like, you would think that the one with all of this experience in performing and speaking and all this other bullshit that he's done would understand that I'm not the one to just be here talking to myself, depending on if the people in the live chat are listening actively or passively. So it is what it is. But yeah, back to that post office thing. I envision that there will be protests at my local post office because there have been a bunch of people just between the 2 days that I went There have been a bunch of people talking about calling congressmen and news stations and they need to protest. They need to be outside. It's gonna potentially get bad. So I'm trying to make sure that I don't have any. Trying to do my best to make sure I don't have any important mail coming relatively quick. Like I said, 99% of all the correspondence and all this other type stuff that one may have, I have that set to go electronically. I don't really do snail mail much, but there were a couple things within the past month or so that I needed that pretty much only happened through United States Postal Service. I think the entire system needs to be rehauled. Legitimately, I think that it had to be rehauled even back when they were talking about getting rid of it. I think getting rid of it doesn't really make sense because the other delivery services cost more. So I don't really think getting rid of it makes sense. But it needs to be overhauled completely. This system. There's no reason that it should still be like it being called snail mail shouldn't still be a thing in 2020.
That should not still be a thing in 2020.
Nah,
that should not still be a thing.
There's no way. There's no way. That shouldn't still be the case. Like
that's absurd.
It's allowed to still be the slowest method, but not as slow as it has gotten over this past year.
Right. Right.
Like that's absolutely ridiculous. All right. But anyway, I don't even know which one of these motherfuckers I should start with.
He's so mad. He's so mad, y'all. Listen. Yo, he's so mad.
All right. I'll say this. I had to get rid of some
God damn.
Dead weight. It is what it is. People, man, listen.
Dude, you just say that. Don't ever say the P word.
Listen,
don't ever say the P word, man.
Listen, man. There was a particular person in my life that was relatively new.
Oh, nah, say it ain't so.
And during the beginning of camaraderie? I don't know. Whatever you want to call it. During the beginning of the scenario,
the courting,
there was this one red flag. There were several, but there was this one red flag that I was like, I'm really gonna have to keep my eye on this.
Right.
It was the vaccine thing. It started off as I'm not sure because this was fast. And I said in my head, number one, you're wrong. But number two, I understand why you're wrong.
Yeah, because it's not like that's a narrative that's not floating around. It's indeed a narrative that I had at the beginning of this.
Right.
Because of previously of how, and of course, not keeping up with the science on it.
That's exactly
you know what I'm saying?
And hold on, this is perfect. This is perfect. So this is an example, even though we often hold ourselves accountable.
Yes.
But this is an example of us not being perfect or claiming to be.
Right.
Because my thinking behind the whole it's too fast from the beginning, from when people were saying it, is the last time we know of that we needed to develop a new vaccine, it took a certain amount of time.
Right. Facts.
But guess what? Every year we need new vaccines for the flu.
Right.
A part of the reason that we need new vaccines for the flu is because it keeps mutating.
Yeah. All and by the way, even with that, the flu vaccine efficacy is like 50%. So these are Pfizer, Moderna, and even Johnson & Johnson have a higher efficacy rate against that than the flu virus.
Right.
Flu vaccine
so
does.
My thought with the whole speed thing was, I'm a techie. I understand enough of science to not make a fool of my damn self.
Right.
Because I understand what the fuck I shouldn't be talking about as well.
That's the key thing.
So, but me being a techie, I understand that things don't stay the same when people who are paid to participate in them work on them. That's not how that works.
Facts.
If I am any situation where you're a part of developing or making something, if you do that and that is your job and you are consistently doing that, whether theoretically or in practice, the process gets faster.
Also, Moore's law, where the prediction made by the American engineer Gordon Moore, 1965, that the number of transistors per silicon chip doubles every year. Moore observed that the number of transistors on a computer chip was doubling about every 18 to 24 months, meaning information, you can process information a lot faster. Things tend to speed up as far as advancements are concerned.
Just period.
You know what I'm saying? It's period. Now, I had to quickly look that up because I remember what Moore's law. I remember the Moore's law was associated with this, but I needed the exact, definition of it. Right? That's basically what's been happening. A lot of things that we haven't had to develop new in a long time. If we have to start developing it again, we've already advanced technology to a point to get them done a lot faster.
That's just basic how things work. Like that's just basic. There are people whose jobs are specifically to make sure that certain processes go quicker.
Right.
That's all they do. That is their sole job. So when you add that with something as specialized as vaccine creation, you also have the people whose job it is to study vaccines and to
test.
Right. So did I think that maybe I still had a kernel of doubt, even with that understanding? But then I realized, okay, no, what they're doing is they're running the test concurrently.
Yes.
So that's going to speed up the process even more.
Right.
Okay. All right, cool. I'm good.
Right.
But anyway, they with them having that thought, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to throw this away because I understand that sentiment. I get it. I get it. Then comes Tuesday.
Damn it.
The statement was, the scenario was part-time job, calling, mind you, medical field. Part-time job calling, hey, is there any particular reason why you won't get the vaccine?
Right.
Called the part-time job. Never gave him the reason, just said personal choice. And after the conversation's over, after the phone's hung up, instant attitude, instant fussing, instant complaining.
Wow.
Wait, it gets worse. This one statement, it hurt my heart. They act like if you get this vaccine, you won't get COVID.
No.
At that point,
no.
I was like, God damn it.
No, she didn't.
I've been bamboozled, hoodwinked, run amok,
led astray. You didn't fall on Plymouth Rock.
So because of that and other considerations that I don't really have time to get into because I got so many other things to fuss about.
Right. Damn, yo. That sucks, yo.
Another one, but okay. Anyway,
so that sucks because, like, on paper at first, it seemed like,
that's why. That's why I don't get this one. I don't use paper no more.
She even lived in the golden realm.
That's why. That's why I don't use paper anymore.
Yeah, because on paper,
all right. So let me see. That I'm not even going to touch that one. Okay. Good news, and then another crash. I'm getting my computer.
Oh yeah, finally, this man's about to have ray tracing in his life.
I sent Mike those specs, bruh.
Yeah.
And then I told him I have to wait until July, and he cried.
Yo, we literally have damn near the exact same specs, except for you have a beefier graphics card. You got the 3080. You know what I'm saying?
He cried with me. We did a little jig. It was powerful stuff, man. We commiserated. It was powerful stuff.
It's a sight to behold.
Let me see.
This nigga about to get a serious gaming.
Not important. Shit. Talk about productivity. But anyway,
right.
So the next thing, this motherfucking asshole. People
tag me next time, yo.
All right. People be dumb, yo. I don't know how much I can say, so I'm gonna try to be a little, because it has to do with work.
We between the raindrops, man.
This motherfucker. So we transferred our payroll over to ADP. A lot of people, ADP has a bunch of clients countrywide, so a lot of people know who ADP is.
I don't.
We use them to shut up. We use them to clock in and clock out. We use them for payroll, all that other good stuff. So, up until the pandemic started, we were used to clock out in. We had several physical clocks that they sell, and for the rest of the places, we were using tablets because you can go to their site and clock in and clock out.
Right.
There was a third option, mobile clock in and clock out, where you can just do it from your phone. There were several reasons why it did not behoove us to enable that. But when the pandemic hit, because you don't want people huddling in one place and all touching the same thing.
You do not.
We allowed everybody to do the mobile clock in, clock out. The one of the features, they have a feature on there with the geolocation where you can restrict where a specific person can clock in and clock out. So if you work at one location, then you are able to clock in at that location. There are several people. I don't know how many. I'm not involved with the setting up of that. So I don't know how they decide who to give what, because I thought that at some point there was a way where I could. No, okay, I think I know what happened. They have it set so that you have to be within a mile of one of our locations in order to use it.
Right.
Likely mainly because there are so many people that go to more than one place at any given time. And it would be a hassle to go into ADP, change their permissions, and then do, especially how often it happens. Because if there are some rental agents that work at this place and then they might get called that day to go somewhere else.
Right.
So instead of them not being able to clock in, we just let everybody be able to clock in and out at all of our locations within a mile.
Right.
This dumb motherfucker lives at one of our properties. And she works at a different of our property. This motherfucker was clocking in where she lives and then going to work.
No!
Wait. This person lives. Let me see. If I was driving in the morning, because I believe their work starts at like 9. So if I was driving from where she lives to where she works in the morning, I probably have to leave my house at 8:30 to guarantee that I would be on time. I might, knowing me, I'd leave earlier. Right? Add in the fact that she doesn't drive. So you're catching Lyfts and Ubers. But what if you clock in at your location, go to grab your Uber, and there's a log jam? So now you're waiting 10, 15 minutes for your ride to come, and you don't already clocked in.
And you're already basically stealing money, because that's basically how companies look at that. Period.
Right.
Stealing money.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. This, ladies and gentlemen, was a quick anecdote on why it's important to understand basic things. If I'm using my phone to clock in and clock out, it's likely that there's some type of GPS involved.
Yes.
If there is some type of GPS involved, it's 100% the case that somebody can track it.
Yeah. Hold on. What percentage is that again?
100.
Oh.
Because that's what GPS is. It's tracking. It's kind of.
Do you have a link?
Nope. We're not doing that. That's what it is. Spoiler alert. That's what the fuck it is. What are you doing?
Yeah, that's crazy.
You can't be that dumb.
Stop saying how.
Oh, well.
Stop asking how.
Someone posited that maybe they're trying to get fired.
Okay, so that's one way to look at it, but it could be from a conscious standpoint. They're consciously trying to get fired, or subconsciously they don't want to work there no more, and they're doing shit that
I don't know. Maybe
because that flies in the face of reason. Listen, we've had these phones for how long now? You don't know GB. You know what? What?
That's what I'm saying.
It's like you said, basic things.
Yeah,
this is basic shit.
Like, I'm not asking you to be some type of engineer that knows exactly how GPS works. No, I'm asking you to understand that you probably used GPS. Yeah, I know. I get that. That's not the point. That's not the point. I'm not asking. I'm simply asking you to understand. Hey, this uses GPS. Likely means somebody could possibly.
GPS is a thing, which means you can be tracked. That's
all
you have to. You know.
All you need to know to avoid this.
Right.
But you chose not to. All right. What's next? I avoid this topic almost like the plague. I used to be very fervent in my stance and argument on it. My feelings of my stance have not changed. Some of the reasons have, and my willingness to engage in conversations about it has.
Right.
That's all out the window today. Apple versus Android.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Are we doing that?
There were a bunch of reasons when this argument first started as to why I was pro Android and
I am a PC. I am a Mac.
There were several reasons that existed then, and some of those reasons are
still exist.
Now. Yeah, some of them do. Some of them do. But some of those reasons are antiquated now. They either are no longer true or they no longer matter as much as they used to.
Right.
The one there was when I made the decision to stop having this conversation with people, there was one that I came to the conclusion of why I will never own an Apple product of my own volition. And once I came to grips with that, I'm like, yeah, this will never change. This will never change unless they're forced to change it.
Right.
And that is their decision, their ideology. It's damn near a religion of theirs.
Yo, facts.
Attempt to lock you into their ecosystem.
Listen. That's never going to change.
Right.
That's their
until
business
they're forced
model.
to. They're in a lawsuit right now for that could possibly change parts of it.
I refuse to be locked in. I'm sorry. I'm not doing it.
But guess what? The inciting incident has nothing to do with a phone.
A computer?
No.
Snack? It's Apple.
No. So Everybody that's been listening knows about the incredible credit journey that I've been in for the last month and a half.
Is that what we're calling it now?
I mean, listen.
The incredible
credit journey. Incredible things have been happening, prospering and balances and all types of good shit. So somebody, I don't remember who, I don't know if it was one of the credit monitoring places or Apple themselves, but somebody sent me a message saying, hey, go ahead and apply for an Apple credit card. And there's no hard inquiry for you to see if you qualify or not. Apply today. So I'm like, all right, cool. Here's the reasons. Number one is superficial, one is a chess move.
Okay.
The chess move is Apple credit cards, all credit cards are backed by a bank.
Oh, yeah. Duh.
The bank that backs the Apple credit card, Goldman Sachs. So it just, for those who don't know, I'm not going to go into the specific detail, but it behooves you to be on good terms with a Goldman Sachs.
Goldman Sachs.
If there are things that you're trying to accomplish in life, I'm gonna leave it at that. So yeah, that's the chess move reason. The superficial reason, I ain't gonna hold you. Their cards are metal. I want one of those cards.
Wow, you plan on throwing it like a batarang?
It will not leave my hand. Notice that's the only thing I refuted.
Okay. Yeah.
It will not leave my hand.
You're basically going to be able to go across people's face.
My Lou Castro shit. Stabby. No, anyway.
Feeling kind of stabby today.
I mean, why not? Or you just clock a nigga upside the head with it because it's solid. It's solid. So I do the application. They're like, yeah, you're approved.
As much slander as you have given to Apple over the years, they just don't know. They just don't know.
And my homegirl asked me, my little sister, she was like, but why would you apply? And I told her the Goldman Sachs thing and the metal thing. And she was like, yeah, but it's Apple. I don't give a fuck what the brand name of a credit card is.
Yeah.
I care about the bank.
Right. Don't get me wrong. Goldman Sachs be on some. They on politically.
Oh, absolutely.
Me and them beef. But I know what you're saying.
So I get approved, and they're like, "All right, you want it or not?" So I'm like, yeah, because I've been approved for it. I want my metal card.
Do you want it or not?
I want the Goldman Sachs. I want those things. Those things I want.
It's my metal card and I need it now.
That's it. But here's where the issues started.
There's issues.
In order, when you get approved, if you say yes, you are able to use that line of credit online with Apple Pay. Let me rephrase that. Let me repeat that. When you get approved, if you accept it, you're able to use that line of credit online with Apple Pay. That is the extent of your ability to use this line of credit.
That's it.
In order to get the card, you have to add it to an Apple wallet. In order to add it to an Apple wallet, you have to have an Apple device.
Sir, you do not have an Apple device.
That is a point of fact.
Yes.
However, my mans do.
Oh.
So I went, after I fussed about it, because I fussed about it.
Yeah.
He was like, yo, you use my iPad. I'm like, oh, bet. Took his iPad.
I mean, Calvin got a Mac.
True. I probably could have did it that way. But no, I don't know. I think it had to be an iPhone or an iPad.
Oh, okay.
It said a device using iOS or iPad OS. Macs use Mac OS. So I don't think you could even use the Mac. I could be wrong. Any Apple heads out there, I might be wrong on that. But that's what it said. It did not say Mac OS. It said iOS or iPad OS.
Right.
So we worked through being able to get my shit on there and request my card. Because that's the only way you get the card. You have to request it through the Apple Wallet. So I did that. And then they was like, all right, cool, your card's on the way. All right, cool. Nigga. How about after I did that, thus proving I have an Apple device, they increased my credit limit by 30%.
What? How, Sway? How is that a thing? Just by proving you had an Apple device, your credit jumps up 30%?
Yes.
How the fuck? So what are they trying to say? Are they trying to say that people with Apple devices are more credible?
I don't know. But it all ties back to them trying to lock people into their ecosystem. It's crazy. This is ridiculous.
It's insane.
This is absolutely ridiculous. What? What are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing? What are we doing here?
I don't know.
What are we doing here?
Listen. I don't. But again, this tracks in some way because, like you said, they're trying to lock you into their little ecosystem.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I just feel like that business model is a little old, and creepy.
Pretty much nobody does it to this extent.
Yeah.
It's pretty much just Apple.
It's a little creepy. It's
annoying. I did literally nothing else. Literally the only I didn't even go back into my account. The only thing I did was add it to the Apple Wallet on that iPad and request my card. That's it. And matter of fact, let me read the email. The email says, Apple Card support. Good news about your Apple Card. When I saw this, I'm thinking, okay, it's shipped. That's what I thought.
How do you know the way they said that was the way you just said it? What if it was like, good news about your Apple Card? No, you gave it this whole...
Nigga, listen. I assumed that the news in this email would be that my titanium card has shipped. Because that's what happens. That whenever you get a card, if you got a replacement debit card or whatever the case may be, you generally get some type of email notification saying that.
You realize that if your credit was better, you would have got an adamantium card.
Oh, shut up.
And better still, it would have been vibranium.
Shut up. So says Apple Card customer James Davis. Good news. Your Apple Card now has a higher limit.
Wow.
And it's available for you to use right now. You can view your Apple Card details in the wallet.
Time for you to get that MacBook you've always wanted.
I've never.
You can charge it on the card.
Don't disrespect me like that. That's not nice. So yeah, that happened. So again,
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I really don't.
It's not. It's neither. It's neither. I'm not. I'm literally this card. I already put it on auto pay.
Okay.
And every now and then I might grab a pack of gum or some shit with it. Like I'm not using this fucking card. The only reason I got the card is because it's metal. I like I said, in the Goldman Sachs thing, obviously that's amazing for my credit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't plan on using this card often. Like
don't say they're gonna buy a stick of gum.
Unless I'm in a kerfuffle.
And you need it as an emergency. Yeah. You could always use it to get like little incidental shit like cords.
Oh no, I was talking about fighting. Damn. When I said kerfuffle, I meant like physically.
Oh, okay.
Somebody was pressing me.
Combat.
I had to pull the metal out. I'm simply saying, sir. That's
okay.
I'm simply saying, sir.
Hey, well,
but anyway, last
is
thing,
what it is.
Crypto. This crash.
Superman's pet dog?
No.
Oh,
stop it. That is. There was one more thing. Okay, crypto crash market. People panicking. Not the thing to do. I understand why you will. I get it. Human nature is going to happen. Nothing I can say would stop it from happening. And I'm not even. I ain't nobody in that space. So you're not going to listen to me anyway. But the reason I know, 2 reasons I know, nothing I can say would stop it from happening is 1. You guys are dumb.
I thought we established that in episode 1.
Yeah, but I just need to repeat it every
I feel you. I understand.
2 top influencers in the space have every time this happens tried to tell people like,
don't panic.
Don't panic, but it happens anyway. So I know.
Well, I feel like most people are risk averse to begin with. So
yes, absolutely,
and also nowhere near as educated on certain things as they should be, but they'll still get involved. They'll dip their toe into it. And thirdly, they don't trust the people who know something about like the whole people having an authority on things is kind of frowned upon now by a large swaths of the population. So when someone says, "Oh, that person nobody doing they're expert in it," they immediately have an attitude about somebody else being an expert on something. So like for me with shit like that, I don't, because I know I don't have the time to invest mentally into I absorb so much fucking data. So I am going to rely on those that know better, which is why when you hit me about the one thing, I shut the fuck up and just did it.
Right.
I'm gonna defer.
Hit your button, by the way. God damn it.
What button? Shut up.
Anyway, so I've also started mining, which is what the fuck I was looking for. My card, the one that I talked about getting last week from my bank, is on the way. It has one of the benefits is if you spend $500 within the first 3 months, you get a $150 credit or some shit like that.
Right.
So I'm like, all right, cool. Since I'm getting my new computer, I'm going to get a couple other things that will help me mine the crypto. So
you mean the 15 other computers that you're gonna have set up?
It's just 2.
Well, okay, so you're welcome, because by me saying 15 and then you going back to the actual number 2, it sounds less egregious.
It's not egregious. They're essentially employees. That's it. I'm not even going to be touching them. They're you set them up. And
I saw the specs on it. It ain't but so much.
No, not that one. That's my baby. That's not an employee. That's a lover.
No. I'm not talking about that one. I'm talking about the other one. I saw this. You showed me the specs on that one.
Yeah,
there's only so much you're gonna be doing with that one anyway.
I'm not gonna be touching it. I'm gonna set it up, and it's gonna do what it do. The only time I have to touch it is if the program messed up and I had to restart it or something like that, update something like that. But other than that, I ain't touching those. Those 2 just are gonna be sitting, doing what they do. They're gonna be working. So yeah, but what I was gonna do is instead of spending all the money to grab them with my money, I was going to put them on that card.
Right.
Because that's going to put me over my 500 that I need to get my 150. So I was going to do that, but my card's not here yet. So that's what I was going to the post office for, is to get my freaking card.
And now we have gone full circle.
My card's not here yet. And the reason I was in a rush to get the card is because those computers are on sale. The sale ends, I believe, Tuesday.
Yeah, so you needed your card. You really needed to get that card.
Right. I mean, I don't. If I don't get the card in time, I may still get both of them, but I may just get one of them.
Yeah. It's ass. It's ass.
Oh, on top of the 500 to 150. On this particular card, I also have 15 months saying it's cash, so no interest.
Oh, nice.
So So all that adds together to make this plan work. But I don't have the card.
So there's
I
that.
can't do anything until I get the card.
It'd be nice if in lieu of the card, like before they sent you the card, they would give you like just the number and the shit. But you still have to.
Well, no. What they did was they gave me 800 of it available to me that I could put in my like Google Wallet.
Okay.
So that's cool. Yeah. But the order is the 2 computers and a new computer chair, and that come up to more than 800. So
yes, it does. Yes, it does. Indubitably.
And the site that I'm getting it from doesn't take Google Pay. So I can't use it. I gotta wait till I physically get the card so I can get the numbers.
Listen, let me tell you this. Out of all of the things that you have disclosed today, to me, the most exciting thing is the fact that you're about to get some ray tracing in your life.
Oh, nigga, absolutely.
Like, because honestly, as far as gaming is concerned, I am nowhere near the gamer I used to be. I am a scaled down gamer now. Right. There are a few games. I have a lot of games, but I don't even play most of them. There's a few my go-to shits. But to be able to live vicariously through someone, when the first time you play Marvel's Avengers at the highest setting,
right,
and you see what I see,
right.
Like, I don't know if you had even Grand Theft Auto 5,
right,
without mods. I have no mods on this to do anything about the way shit look, and it's
right.
It's it's something to behold. You know, No Man's Sky at ultra setting. The only thing that I'm missing.
I sent you that Minecraft video.
Oh my! This is the only thing I'm missing, and you missing too. I need a 4K monitor.
Oh no, that's next. That's the next. See, all of this with these credit cards. Listen. The card. Realistically, so anybody that's listening, if you do what you will with this fucking information, I'm tired of telling people what to do and they're not listening.
Do what you will, for I fear nothing.
But the point is, if I have the way that things are projecting, if I have this current computer, and the 2 other computers, that could probably bring in a little over 200 a month.
Oh, nice.
Probably. So the plan is,
what's the plan?
That once I get the computer in July, I'm absolutely buying a 4K monitor because it should have been paid off by then.
Right.
It should have been paid for by then. So yeah,
it's a must at this point. Like, yo, I feel like I'm not getting the biggest bang for my graphic card buck.
No, you are absolutely not getting the biggest bang,
especially since I've seen what No Man's Sky looks like in 4K.
Right.
It is ridiculous. Joe says he has multiple monitors. I do as well.
Yeah,
I used to have 3.
I'm not getting to see what I'm gonna do is the way it is set up. I have a decent monitor, a better monitor.
Yeah.
When I get the 4K monitor, I'm going to move the better monitor over here.
There you go.
The 4K monitor right here.
Exactly.
The decent monitor is going to be for those other computers.
Yeah, that makes complete sense to me. That's basically what I'm gonna do. Like the monitor I'm currently looking at now, that is the good one. The other one is just decent.
Right.
But when eventually I get a 4K one, yeah, that's definitely going to replace where
everything rotates.
Everything rotates.
Everything rotates.
Although what I'm thinking, what I might want is one of those frames to hold it, hold the monitors on there.
Yeah.
Because right now I have my tower on my desk, and I rather prefer it up here. The wires are not all. My first one previously to this, I had it underneath of it, and it was the chore to get to the wires when I need to do stuff. It was just a whole mess. This being up on the table now makes things. I can get the shit a lot better. I can service it a lot easier. Like, and it doesn't make. You know what usually happens when you make something difficult on yourself. you tend to not want you're not incentivized to do it as much as you should.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So by this being up here on this table now, I am incentivized to make sure that
it'll likely last
dusty
longer.
it in. Yeah. Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking right now I currently don't have space for a third monitor on the desk, but if I got one of those things that hold the monitors, or at least one of them, up, like over top of, that would be. Mm-hmm. Although what I need to do is, I've been noticing this lately too. I don't think my monitors are sitting up high enough because I typically find myself, doing this. Right. I don't feel like I should be doing that. I should be doing this. You know what I'm saying? Right. And I'm not doing this. I'm doing that. So I'm going to have to prop something up to get it up a little higher and shit. I think that's what I'm going to do.
They have monitor stands for that type thing.
They do. But I got a couple of monitor stands and that tent out there, books.
Mm-hmm. right.
Some books underneath them for the time being anyway.
I mean, get it how you live.
I'm just saying.
Man,
Joe says he has 6 monitors. If I had space,
he'd like to have.
Oh, he'd like to have. Okay. I would too.
I don't think I want 6.
No, listen, I'm not doing it for any reason that makes sense other than the look. That's it, y'all. I ain't gonna hold you. I'm not gonna stand and act like it's, Jonathan says, I am literally on Amazon looking for monitors right now and have been for the last 30 minutes or so, and TV stand mounting brackets. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, listen. We can make slow improvements to stuff, but once I got
incrementals,
that card, when I watched this, somebody did a mini doc on No Man's Sky and the progress from 2016 to now.
Mm-hmm.
And he had clips in there of what that shit looks like in 4K.
Right.
And I was like, wait, what?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yes, it still has the cartoony. I'm good, but I was good with that anyway.
Yeah.
Right?
Stop.
But it looks solid. Like the sky, look. I gotta play that like that. I got to.
And well, my thing is editing.
Oh yeah.
Because
you don't like to edit though.
It takes a lot because I have to put the file into DaVinci, convert it from 4K to 1080 because it can't handle my computer cannot handle.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Big ass files.
You'll be fine.
I realized what it was
in July.
I know. I realized what it was. Not that they're 4K. It's the 4K.
They're huge.
The fucking C-Log. The C-Log makes the file that much bigger.
Yeah. So, and DaVinci operates mostly off of GPU.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So the more powerful your GPU is, I have what? It just eats it like, give me more. That's all you got?
Right. So I'm really looking forward to that. Like really, really.
I ain't gonna hold you. I'm looking forward to you getting it. Seriously, I am, Like I'm looking forward to you getting that shit. Because
it'd be July now.
I feel like I got to experience that alone. Like about the only thing I could do was upload a few screenshots, and some video to see. Look at the graphics, it's crazy. But you know how the internet tends to compress. Mm-hmm. So you're still not getting the full, but now for someone else to be able to see what I see when I launch one of them games and be like, this looks amazing. And I've had this now, but how long I had my computer now? About a month. A little longer than a month. And I'm still shocked every time. I think like you ordinarily,
I think
that could be it. But you know what's crazy? You know what the good thing is about that though?
What?
I plan on getting much older.
Good.
So it's always going to be. It's always going to be amazing every time. Like, look at this shit. Look at this.
Facts.
I'm just saying.
All facts.
Saying.
Yeah, man. I'm really looking forward to it. It's milestone.
It's been a long time. Yeah, it's been a long time since you had a brand new spanking with that new computer smell.
Right.
It's been a long time.
That thing. That's
right. And then on top of that, you playing with power. Like you are not compromised at this point. You are not compromised.
Honestly, the 3090 is fucking overkill.
Yes, it is.
It's $1,000 more.
Yeah, and it's overkill.
The card itself.
Mm-hmm.
Forget whatever computer it comes in. The card itself is $1,000 more.
Facts.
Nah, that's not.
Yo, this shit has improved everything that my whole workflow, because I'm not dealing with the horse shit limitations of me trying to push it past what its limitations is. And again, did I mention that the gaming? Listen.
You're stupid.
They just recently did an update to Star Citizen, and they added a whole bunch of shit to it because they got something called Fleet Week happening this week, where any geek off the street can just go onto the can just go onto the RSI website. You gotta earn it. It's like so you can go in there, get it for free, get a profile and install the game and play it. So they needed to beef up because it's still an alpha. They needed to beef it up because it's going to be they usually get huge traffic. So I went on there last night just to fuck around for a second. I know I said before that was the smoothest it's ever been. No, this time is the smooth. I mean, and then of course by me having the superior card now, it just looks. I didn't even want to really do anything. I just wanted to fly around for a minute. Walk through one of the cities because there's things they fixed the trading, which is what I was on before. They fixed it, so I could literally go in there, but I don't have the hours that it takes to do anything in this game. Don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining about the fact that it takes that long, because for those people that like that sort of gaming thing, which I am typically for this particular game, I like the whole process. It feels like you're in a real world. You literally have to go and do certain things to do other things instead of you just hitting this. I don't have the time.
Right.
I don't have the time to do a few hours of flying from one planet, picking up some products, and going to another planet or moon or space station to sell them for a higher price, and then repeating the process and watching my money grow, because my goal is still to purchase a ship, an in-game ship with in-game money. That's my goal, right? But I don't have the currently I don't. I'm wearing a lot of different hats, especially with this content creating thing. So I don't have the time for that. So the stuff that I usually have time for, quick Lego, Lego, quick No Man's Sky, feed my pets, walk around, do a fly over here or there, or Marvel Avengers, so I can hit people over the head with a big Uru hammer for a little while, especially since I know you probably ain't been on there in a while. The Red Room thing is up. It's actually kind of fun, and they added something called along with your skill points, you get champion points now with that experience you add. It added a whole different screen connected to the skills thing where you can boost up all of your stats, defense, combat, the heroics, all of that by just play the game, get the points. You get so they're doing things. Joe asks, do I ever played a RPG? Yeah, I played back in the day.
It's not a typo.
That's not. Oh, I thought it was a typo. What's a FRPG though? So obviously no, unless I've been playing one and didn't know that's what it was.
I don't like you. I really don't like you.
Fantasy RPGs. Yeah, I mean, I've played them from time to time, back, especially back in the day. But like I said, they are also on the end of time sinks.
Yo, one of the first things I'm gonna do is install Skyrim.
I know you got to. And you're not going to complete it because you're busy.
Oh, there's no way. I have no intention.
Mine is modded. Boys, man. I have Thor on it, literally with the
that's funny
with Mjolnir. That's funny. And it is powerful. I don't play that often anymore. Right. That's a game you have to have.
Oh yeah,
just on your computer, you have to have Skyrim on it.
Yo, when Skyrim first came out, I bought it. When it re-released, I bought it, and then once I finally started moving the PC, I didn't buy it again because I think that's silly because I already bought it twice. But now, when I get this new one, oh yeah, I'm doing Skyrim again. Again, notice I didn't say I was gonna buy it, but I'm doing Skyrim again.
Listen, well, now here's the thing that's crazy. I have not played Skyrim since I got the new computer.
Right.
So, but I'm sure the graphics going to look. Skyrim is dated.
Yes, absolutely. That's why. However, that's one of the reasons why I mentioned mods.
However, you can mod it out. It looks really good, and then having a good card, a great card. Yeah, it's definitely a step up. So you talking about it? I still don't have time to play it today.
Right.
but I might jump in there for a hot second just to see what everything looks like because I have not been on that game since I got this new computer.
Fix.
Yeah. I love that.
Did you see the thing about NetherRealm and Marvel?
NetherRealm? No.
They're saying that NetherRealm is about to develop a Marvel fighting game. And the newest rumor is that it's going to be an Avengers vs. X-Men game. There's also a rumor that it's going to be Marvel versus DC.
That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Okay, so here's the thing. I want you to listen and be very, very clear. They have to give me a Marvel fighting game that's not Capcom. I need a Marvel fighting game that's not Capcom.
You want to tell me that the people who made Injustice Gods Among Us is working on a Marvel game?
Hear me and hear me well.
By the way, for those who aren't so geeky about this, these is the same people who make the Mortal Kombat games.
Mortal Kombat, yeah, same people. Listen, I have Injustice 1 and Injustice 2 and Mortal Kombat 11 on my computer right now. They're amazing. Even the older Injustice game, you clearly see the jump up in graphics between 1 and 2, but it's still fire. It's still fire. I need a Marvel fighting game that's not Capcom. That's it. That's all.
And Capcom. One of the articles that I saw was saying like, apparently there is a Marvel vs. Capcom 4 coming, and one of the articles was like, "This is going to be bad for Marvel vs. Capcom 4."
Good.
If this game comes out,
you know why I'm saying good? I'm saying good because those games to me have not been really good ever since they stopped having the X-Men featured in those games along with everybody else. If you look at the last Capcom game, there's no X-Men in there at all.
That's because,
and that's absurd to me.
That's because of the movie shit. That's what the word on the street is. That was around the time when that was being developed. That was around the time where they stopped doing Fantastic
That's
Four
a fact.
comics, stopped doing X-Men comics.
That's a fact.
Yeah. So,
and it's crazy because so for us, the X-Men are weaved into the overall Marvel universe thing. So yes, you have fans, right? The OG, like you have fans, people that are just X-Men fans. that watch those movies.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. But for those of us that reading the comic books, it wasn't unheard of for Cap and Wolvie that they had to deal with some shit together. Or Beast was an Avenger.
Mm-hmm.
He was a defender, but he also was an Avenger at one point, right? So like they're all intertwined, and to not see them in that stuff, it really took from it for me. Like,
right,
it didn't feel authentic to me. But I get why they didn't do it. And this is also right around the time when they tried to elevate the Inhumans.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Because they couldn't use mutants at that time, which turned out to me to be, I ain't gonna say it was a mistake, because they did get a couple of quality characters that they continue to use, like Kamala Khan, who's an Inhuman, you know, stuff like that. But now that you have the X-Men back, I'm gonna keep it real with you. They altered a lot of the Inhuman shit to make it palatable, to be closer to more in line with what mutants are.
Yeah.
But I didn't give a fuck about the Inhumans. It's all about the mutants.
Right.
Honestly, I didn't care about the Eternals as much either until they start doing something.
Right.
And we find out Hyperion is an Eternal. Oh, they're outright Superman. Hyperion is outright Superman. Right? Outright Superman. Right? So they started making them more interesting to me. So now, when I saw that little clip for the Eternals movie, I got sized because it looked good. It looked, the graph, you know, the special effects, it looked convincing, because I was afraid a lot of those Eternals, the way you look at their power scaling and what they say they can do on paper sounds dope, but you rarely see them do it before in the comic books. They will only focus, each one of them only focus on like their individual ability. Like somebody may have blasts to come out of their eyes or something like that. Like they would focus on that. But then when you go and read their stats, they say, oh, they have superhuman strength, flight, this, that, other. They don't be seeing a lot of that shit. They're just doing that regular shit, so they didn't seem special.
Right.
They give them all of that, they're going to see special. And now they got to answer a question. Fuck was you at when Thanos came in? I need answers.
Well, true.
Because I lost Tony Stark fucking with y'all. Okay. We lost Black Widow fucking with y'all. And also, Thanos is an Eternal. Where was y'all at? Where was y'all at? They got to answer that.
I mean, they don't.
No. Listen. Feige, if you don't want me running through Marvel Studios' office,
for some reason, I don't think that's high on his threat list. I don't think.
No, you don't think so?
I think he's good in that respect.
That's good for me. That was unexpected.
No. I don't think his level of awareness has anything to do with your success on this mission. As diverse as Marvel is now, you're still black. And you would still.
Who told you that?
You would still be trespassing.
Man, I'll go in there and say I'm related to
You could try
Anthony Mackie. I'm Anthony Mackie's cousin, y'all. Just came through here.
Right. Because right.
I mean, one more time, I'm related to Chris Hemsworth. No one's gonna believe that. What the fuck? I got out of here. Of course it's gonna be. I'm Cap's cousin. Let me in. Let me in.
You probably better off saying you were related to Isaiah Bradley's actor.
Shut up.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry. But also the other thing I did this week is I started a rewatch of Young Justice. Now, anybody who's been around for a while and happened to catch these select episodes of the show know that I've always said, and Young Justice is my favorite comic book anything. And here's a sad reality. There are times when you experience something and you live through it,
Don't tell me this.
and you know you have a feeling about it, and that feeling is near and dear to you, and it increases because of nostalgia, and absence makes the heart grow fonder, and then you decide one day, hey, let me go
Let
back.
me jump back into that feeling.
Let me get that
Boy,
old thing back. Let me get that old thing back. And then you just be disappointed.
And then you over there with the
then,
righteous brothers like, you lost that love.
Right. It's like, that
happened.
I am
was a
so
thing.
happy to report that that's not what the fuck happened.
First of all, you play entirely too much.
This show is absolutely amazing even still. And the thing that I realized about it.
What's that?
Probably one of the reasons. No, not probably. Absolutely one of the reasons that I had this visceral effect when first going through it is it satisfied it scratched an itch that I didn't know I had. It satisfied my need for a connected universe before the MCU fully fleshed theirs out.
Right.
Young Justice came out in 2010. We had a couple movies, but we hadn't reached Avengers yet.
Yeah, sure.
So
that's
hit me going through it.
That's what Justice League Unlimited did for me. I ain't gonna hold you.
It hit me going through it because you see, they throw in these things that have nothing to do with the team.
That's right.
It'll be about the Justice League.
That's right.
Or one specific character that's not a part of the team.
That's right.
Like the last episode I just watched was the one where they found out about the Reach, and they were questioning the kids that the Reach had kidnapped, and Virgil was there. And I'm like, that's Static Shock.
That's right. That's right.
He's not a part of the team. He doesn't really get much play in the series, but that's Static Shock.
That's right.
I don't it doesn't matter. Seeing stuff where certain of the villains, seeing how just deconstructing the writing, how they write some of that stuff. It's like, this was done well.
I do want to know. I think I have the answer to this, but I don't have it verified. Is Bruce Timm part of the staff that produces and writes for that? Because Bruce Timm wrote for Justice League Unlimited, and he's one of the principal reasons why it was so good, although I would give most of it to Dwayne McDuffie, RIP. Dwayne was a genius. And even Bruce said of him, like, we would come up with ideas and then say, okay, this is the story we're going to go. And before any of us was even finished the page, Dwayne was done. Like, here it is. Here's the story right there. Run with that. Take that. Run with that. Take that.
All right, Daddy.
No Bruce Timm?
Hold on. Oh, shoot. Hold up. I'm tripping. It doesn't look like it.
Oh. Well, whoever they got doing it, though, he's doing a spectacular job. Whatever crew they got writing the stories and all of that, it's still good. It holds up. Because I watched Justice League Unlimited maybe a few months ago, and it still held up. I still had similar feelings about it. At the right parts, certain episodes, like, oh, yo, like really, it was Justice League Unlimited that had me recognize just how useful and powerful Zatanna was. I was like, oh no, y'all bugging. How come there's no Justice League team?
It was too much for me back then. I think that honestly, had I tried to watch it again after Young Justice, I probably would have appreciated it more. But at first, it was too much for me. I don't know what it. Maybe DC for me.
Which version though? Because the first two seasons were just the core team members. Flash, Superman.
I ain't gonna hold you. Pretty much everything about my comic journey has been initially sparked by youth.
Oh yeah, makes
so
sense.
Spider-Man, X-Men,
That makes sense.
Young Justice,
That makes sense.
fucking Teen Titans, like, so that's probably what it was, because if I recall correctly, when that show started, it was more a little like serious and like
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
And at the time, that wasn't really what I was.
What you wanted to. That's
for.
not. Yeah, exactly.
Like
that makes sense.
Spider-Man and X-Men got serious, but at the end of the day, it was still the premise is they're teenagers,
right?
Yeah.
It was relatable.
Teen Titans was fucking ridiculous.
Right.
There's very little serious about that at first until that last arc where they was dealing with Slade and Terra.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Then afterwards, I read the comics about
they grew you up. They grew you up.
When I saw what was really going on with Slade and Terra, oh my god,
they grew you up. They grew you up.
And then Young Justice came in perfectly right behind it, like, hey,
makes sense.
Here you go.
Makes sense. I mean, because I think it's probably the same
about being teenagers. They want to grow up.
Now the thing is, that's the thing. When I was growing up, Super Friends would come on the weekend Saturdays, right? But the thing is, Super Friends predates you by
a couple
of decades.
But so I'm a Cartoon Network baby. So
by the time you got to Super Friends, the pacing, it's not. I can't watch Super Friends now. I can't watch Super Friends now. But as a kid, shit, Super Friends, you know what I'm saying? That was not even a teen experience with that, because they didn't really give Robin much to do, except for the fact that they did have the Wonder Twins, which was their
power. I always thought that was so dumb.
Yeah, well, you should feel justified in feeling that way, because we thought it was dumb then. All of us thought it was dumb then. And I was a kid going, why are they here? I'm here for Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. I ain't here for these. They're not in the comic books. Then, of course, they wound up becoming in the comics. But still, they were like, I don't care. Every time they would get on the screen, I get attitude like, in the monkey glee, like, no, I don't want that. So you were justified in feeling that way, because we thought it was dumb. All I wanted, give me my Justice League, Superman, Batman, and at that point, everything at that time was paced similarly. So it was a normal pacing of things. When I tried to watch that shit later on, I can't. Yo, I see all the flaws. I see animation where only the mouth is moving.
Oh no,
Robin, we have to see. I can't even do it, because
that's not how life works.
No, it's not.
No.
I still thought the music was it still gave me that epic feel, but watching the show, I didn't get and yes, all that heroes running until they clash thing, that's definitely comes from Super Friends. and yes, when I watched Endgame and they did that, that's the first thing because that's the first time I saw it was Justice League. Heroes, villains, but no, man.
Like, yo, I promise you, I used to hate when Super Friends would come on. I'm like, come on, yo, like I'm fine watching BTAS. I love BTAS.
Batman anime, so yeah, it's dope.
Super Friends, get the fuck out of my face. Go sit down. Go sit down.
You go sit down. You go sit down now.
I don't need you.
Yo, I had a similar experience with, I hate to say it, the cartoon Dungeons and Dragons. I used to love Dungeons and Dragons. And I watched it not too long ago and was like, y'all yell too much. That's one. No, people don't talk like that. Also, again with the animation, where only the mouth is moving or the eyes blink. Like it's jarring. Thanks. But Justice League, Justice League Unlimited was done by now. It's been in finished for some years. It still holds up. I watch it. It still looks.
Yeah, well, it was never that for me. It was never that. It was just this is super serious. These are, these are old guys. And
I want the kids in there.
Yeah, and like I said, by the time Young Justice came around, I was kind of out of that because I noticed. I realized it actually yesterday, because season 2 there's a 5-year jump, and
it is.
When the 5-year jump happens, one of the new additions to the team is Wonder Girl, and I'm like, all right, seeing Dick Grayson as Nightwing, Wonder Girl, and Connor Kent staying together doesn't give me any feel. No, but when those Justice League scenes in Young Justice happen, and you see Bruce, Diana, and Clark standing there, I still felt like, oh, that's the Trinity.
That's right.
That's how I knew I had grown out of that shit.
Right.
When Young Justice came around.
Right.
Because it's like, all right.
I ain't gonna lie though. The people that was doing the marketing, they really did get the kids.
Yes.
Because when I was growing up, we wanted all the adult shit.
Yeah.
That's what we wanted. Yeah. Even shit like Charlie Brown and Snoopy, the whole Peanuts cartoon, they was using big college words and shit like that. We wanted that. So that's probably why I didn't have the same thing with the adult heroes, because that's who I was. Yeah, the adult heroes. Yeah. I don't care about no Wonder Twin activate bullshit.
You know what I'm saying? If they gave me that, I'd have been like, no.
But I did notice there was a shift. I noticed it with my kid growing up, where kids and their sensibility was being catered to more in those spaces.
Right.
So they basically
I think what happened is creatives found a way to merge the two.
Yeah.
Better.
Yeah. That's probably the case.
There that absolutely look like they are kids shows.
Yes.
And realistically, kids would probably be fine watching most of them. But they also include the stuff for the adults in the show.
Right.
1000%.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
And it's become a science, and more people are knocking it out the park because there's a formula now. But these shows like Teen Titans and Young Justice, I feel like that's when they really tried to start getting that.
Something that Joe said, Avengers Assemble, that had to grow on me, because it was a little less serious at first than Earth's Mightiest Heroes. But MC Brooks says Young Justice is such an incredible show. They've done a great job making the sidekick characters feel like their own heroes.
Absolutely.
Like, I think this is the key point. We just had this conversation. The last episode of Metas and Mutants was based on sidekicks. We're talking about sidekicks. That's exactly what it is. What Brooks just said.
Yeah.
You flesh the sidekick out, and you realize they're heroes in their own right.
That's it.
They're heroes in their own right.
Because realistically, nobody will be able to do that shit. You got to think about it. On top of it, like, it's like, that's another thing. They got us. Because being a superhero is just like, not a one-to-one.
Right.
If anybody's listening,
right,
you understand how analogies work.
Right.
It's just like being a martialized person.
Yes.
They got us again.
Oh, listen, they play in there's a few seasons of Justice League Unlimited where they absolutely play into the marginalization of these characters because of what they can do. The government don't trust them. The government don't trust them. They did us that same thing with the X-Men. We got the same. That's absolutely a thing. That's absolutely a thing.
Right.
They pulling that out. They put this is the part that killed me though. So this stuff is blatantly obvious, especially if you come from a marginalized group.
Yeah.
You see the parallels now. Yeah, I get that. But I see people from non-marginalized groups that enjoy that.
Oh, yeah.
And seem to get it when it comes to that. But can't turn that lens on real marginalized groups.
It's all fake.
Adequate. Yo, what did y'all break? First
everything.
Of all, we broke the universe. Nothing will ever be the same again. When you go outside, you're gonna fall up. It's just what it is now.
That's gonna fuck your head up, yo.
Well, and Addy be all right. The room's probably spinning for him right now anyway. So.
Yeah.
But but you're right about that. Like they got us again.
They got us again.
They use these tropes. The tropes work, man. They fucking work.
That's why
they work. That's why they tropes.
Work, people wouldn't continue to use them.
Exactly. It works.
Yo, so this nigga just really asked the same question with different punctuation and a
LOL at the end.
What is going on? See, we proved it. We broke everything.
See, it's broken.
Addy's broken.
That's probably not even Addy. Our Addy that said that. That's Addy from a different universe, slightly different, almost identical, except for that Addy put a LOL
and lost the first exclamation point in an O or two.
Right. Right.
Like, what that's the only here?
That's the only difference. Because there's allegedly supposed to be some universe where the change is just minute. Everything
we still see it, my guy.
Nope. Still there, we see it. Earth 2 version. Brooks said Earth 2 version.
That's my Earth favorite Earth.
Yo, yes. I hate Earth 2. I hate Earth 2.
Yeah,
what's wrong with him?
Absolutely still holds the fuck up. And I'm happy that I'm currently going through
you
it
should
again.
be.
Oh my God.
It's good to dive back into those classics and find that you still get the same feel for them.
Thanks. I was I was like, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and put this on.
I'm about to be petty as shit right now. Now go ahead, continue.
I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and put this on and go to sleep. And then 3 hours later, I'm still up. Still watching.
Still engaged.
Yeah, let me turn this shit off before I don't go to sleep.
Yo, I sometimes I had that problem too because, like, realistically, what I would like to do is put something on to drift off to. Now, my wife got it. My wife got it down, right? She puts on TV Land, and that's it. But I would prefer a completely quiet room most of the time, because what happens is if I get interested in what's going on that screen, I'll look up and 2 and 3 hours have passed. And I was supposed to be in the bed, and then that's that window of time of sleepiness. So that if you don't get it in right then, now you're having a hard time. I knew you was gonna see that. I was gonna see that. Well, I just said I was about to be petty as shit. Oh man. But yeah, man, that's today was a fuss fest on James' part.
Listen,
that's what it is. We had my man Joe Stevenson on, aka Serious Mind.
Yeah,
appreciate him for showing up because
he
definitely added to the content, and that's why I said he needed to be doing his own. Yeah, go restart your channel, reignite.
Thanks.
I also want to thank all the people that took the time out to come on the show today and listen. We was late, and people still showed up and showed out. Definitely, that's love. Definitely appreciate that. I know Addy got here late, but Addy,
we gotta have a powwow with him real quick.
Yeah, Addy never listens. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But other than that, I think this was a great show, and especially considering the fact that SBJ was beefing for most of the show. Like besides the reparations segment,
it
was going in.
It was all smoke.
All smoke.
Hey, sometimes it just has to happen.
It just has to happen.
It just has to happen.
But we appreciate you guys. Appreciate MC Brooks for showing up. Like, we appreciate y'all. So for my man SPJ, I am Tombstone the Dead Man, and for the greater multi-world entertainment family, which includes Addie's Game Room, Jaded Nerd, Metas and Mutants, and a whole bunch of stuff. We are out. Peace.